morning, everybody. I hope this finds y'all well. It was a long day yesterday and a long evening. It was a sad day for our communities and for our country. And today I'm going to dive in a little bit about when are you going to go? I've been working on it since 7 a.m. this morning, love. Hey, yes, I was on Baker's this morning. Thanks for hopping in, Danny. Please leave some DNA. Um, hello, Pippi Longstocking. Hello. We are going to be talking about the mother of the Apalachee shooting. This is going to feed into, I hope, the next live, which will be the trial of the super jumper. I call him the super jumper. He looks like Superman. But what I'm going to do, didn't mean to get that going. I need to hop out chats and do a couple little back end things now that I'm live. But we are going to dive into what we know thus far about the mother and understand that this is going to be interesting, y'all. This is going to be interesting. I was pretty shocked to see what I had read. So we're going to hop into that. But right now, I'm trying to create a redirect of this stream. Customization, add to that stream. Yay. I'm learning to redirect because a lot of my streams are backing up to the next stream. So hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ada K. And, sorry. I've got my homework in plain view back here, and I shouldn't. There we go. As everybody is probably aware who's hopping onto this stream, this is a very sad situation where a young man at the age of 14 decided to end the lives of 2 teachers, 2 students, and harm others. And so what I'm going to do is there has been an article written about the mother, and we are going to hop on. I thought I'd just hop on and let's just go ahead and go over this. That is a picture of him and his mother. I did edit it because the original picture, which I'm not going to show above, it's kind of up and underneath the kind of celebrities, is because 2 younger children are pictured, and I don't think it's fair for them. Hi. Hey, Christy. Hi, Evil Queen. Y'all leave some DNA. Hi, Andrea. So I don't feel it's fair to put the other children up on the screen. So we're going to read this together. Marcee Gray of Fitzgerald, Georgia. No. Has been identified as a mother of Colt Gray, the student who shot and killed 4 people in mass shooting in Apalachee High School in Windsor, Georgia. Marcee, according to public records, was arrested in 2023 for vehicle theft, drug trafficking, moving things illegally, possession, mischief, and meth. Her own sister and cult aunt, Anne Brown, has revealed in numerous social media posts that Marcee created a dysfunctional family unit. Ms. Brown claims that her sister is addicted to drugs and steals from her family to sustain her habit. Colt Gray is 14. He shot 4 people at his high school in Georgia. Actually, he shot more than 4 have passed away. 9 are injured. Yes. Gray opened fire at Apalachee High School, city of Windsor, killing 2 teachers. Yep, we know about that. This is her. Who is Marcee Gray? Marcee Gray is a highly educated engineer who, according to her own sister, fell into drug addiction and destroyed her life. Gray also claims she suffered 14 years of abuse during her marriage to Colt's father, Colton Gray. Gray attended Georgia Southern University, graduated in 205 with a bachelor's in science degree in industrial management. She proceeded to Kennesaw University, Southern College of Engineering. So she's an engineer. She graduated from Columbia University in 2008, receiving her master's in science of occupational safety and health. She held numerous prestigious positions, including quality engineer supervisor at Toyota Industries, North American, and quality manager of Olympic Steel, Windsor, Georgia. Hey, beautiful. Hey, Lamar. Hello, everybody. Her final roles listed on her LinkedIn profile revealed that she worked at quality assistant manager at Georgia Pacific LLC from March of 20 to January of 21. Then she, and then as a senior quality engineer at PCC Airfoils from January to September of 21. Her work experience abruptly stopped at that point. Oh, I don't like seeing. Marcee Gray was married to Colton Gray, and a couple welcomed 3 children, which Colt was the eldest. I don't want to show the minors. Colt is fine. The others, not so much. Hello, Miss Linda. In several social media posts in recent years, Miss Gray announced she had taken her children and left her husband due to an abusive relationship. Due to his abusive nature, she claimed that she had suffered nothing but abuse in her 14 years of marriage. In social media posts, Marcee wrote, after 14 years of almost consistent domestic abuse, I packed myself, my babies up, and relocated to my hometown of South Georgia. We are all good. My kids are thriving. Oh, unless I look at this, it's going to keep blinking at me. Okay. In another post, she attempted to explain her reasoning for staying for that long. According to her, she knew everyone from the outside looking in would not understand why she remained, excuse me, in an abusive marriage, but she felt she was the only one who could comfort her husband. And these are her words. I know it's hard to understand from the outside world looking in. Everyone in my and his family could not understand why I stayed as long as I did. Ultimately, it was my decision. I made a commitment to the Lord and to my husband. No one but me understands the pain that my husband lives with every single day. Every single person in his life has hurt or betrayed him. I truly believe that the Lord sent me to him because no one else was strong enough to stand by his side through thick and thin. I'm not about to give up on him now. We're just taking a break, she said. In 2023, Marcee Gray was arrested in Georgia for concealing the identity of a vehicle, sale, distribution, possession of dangerous drugs, possession of Section 2 controlled substance, and other charges. Ooh, here's her mugshot. There's the mugshot. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Uh, Boy, she looks good. That's a good mugshot. In the wake of her arrest and other destructive behavior, Marcee Gray's sister, Ann Brown, Phalamus, what a name, called her out on her behavior. She alleged Marcee had destroyed her family with her drug addiction and illicit activities she was engaged in to fund her addiction. Oh, these are the Facebook posts. Let's see. Please, someone get me in touch with GBI. I've tried calling. I'm not scared. I will not back down. I will not disrespect other parents and families that are dealing with this tragedy. On the opposite, they didn't deserve this. I will not do anything but humbly support the families involved in the incident and that did not ask to be participants. With that, I will not leave my nephew standing alone. When Uvalde happened, I told my own children, only hurt people. I did everything I could to fight for my nephew and my niece and my other nephew. Yes, y'all can go ahead and play the blame game all you want, but the families affected by my nephew's action deserve all the attention now. I will take care of my nephew and what he needs on this side. Just check yourself before you speak about a child that never asked to deal with the bullcrap he saw on a daily basis. Wow. They charged my 14. Oh, mama and daddy bailed Marcee out of jail. She went to rehab for a month or two. Her husband went and picked her up without my mom's permission. She went up there and stayed with him and their kids for a few weeks. Issues state Issues started to arise, and now she is back in Fitzgerald at my parents' house. Wow. So there's a lot of neglect and possible abuse. She destroyed my personal belongings. She stole thousands of dollars worth of property from my parents and pawned it all off. Yeah, this does sound worse than the Crumbly family. You're right, Lamar. My mother let me take the phone my sister was using when she tied my mom up and left her for dead. What? Oh, yes. It's in the thumbnail of this post. Oh, wow. I took pictures of her Google searches, her texts between people that she was working with, pictures of handwritten notes when she exchanging with her drug friends and their parents. She poured 2 gallons of white paint all over my childhood memories, a chest of my awards crafts. Okay. Wah. As the best of all that, I took videos she recorded burning all my soccer jerseys in fireplace, including one I wrote during my first year Dalton, my national championship. Okay. So she destroyed your stuff. Any female that's going through hardship, headaches, or digging their family out of a 13-year domestic abuse, take my advice. Put Mona and Dito. Oh, okay. Wow. That's intense. Okay. Hi, Anne. Hi, Ika. Oh, wow. Okay, some more. My sister stole many things and pawned them, my mom's gold, my dad's power tools. I have written messages between her and the supplier discussing her pawn shop visits, price for the drugs. I caught Colt. I taught Colt and know firsthand he dealt with so much. I love him and will be thinking about him and your family as you go through this tragedy. I am sorry. Such a sweet boy. You hold on to that, sister. We may need you. I previously had it wrong. My parents had it wrong. The numerous of other people had it wrong. My brother in law has been dealing with the transgressions of my sister while also taking the blame for countless awful events. Coley, I'm sorry, sister, had me fooled for so long, believing you were the source of all this tragedy. I am thankful we are able to resolve this nightmare as a team. That's in 23. This is the young man and their cat. Mm. Oh my gosh, y'all. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So the drama is deep in that family. Yes. I mean, the actions of this child are horrible. What I want to know is where's the mental state of this child? Where I want to know is where in the heck was CPS? With an arrest record like that, I can't imagine CPS was not involved in one way or another. I don't wanna cry. On one hand, I'm very grieved for the loss of the teachers and the students and all who were harmed. But children are not born this way. They're born of a clean slate. And that little soul was exposed to obviously a far more than we know. And he was crying for help a year ago when he wrote what he wrote. The FBI came in. Is it the boyfriend? Did she remarry? I can't remember. Yes, all the children need help. Those at the school, they are all the victims. And like I said, there comes a point when you're a child of that age. Yes, I agree, Eddie. They knew. They knew. It's for me at 18, 17, 18, 19, 20s, you're adults. You know right from wrong. At 14, you know right from wrong, but your brain is not developed until you're 20, what, 22, 25, depending on the male and female. But I'm making zero excuses for this young man. What he did is horrendous, and he will pay for it for the rest of his life. I have no doubt. But at the same time, this woman may be another Crumbly. She very well may be. See, if we create the monsters, then we should be responsible for the monster. Not calling him one. I'm just saying in general, um, if we create the being and the being does something bad and our behavior formed that being, then there should be accountability, in my humble opinion. And it's okay if you disagree. I'm not going to get mad if you do. But there comes a point that we as parents have to be accountable for what we do to these children. Sorry. We are a product of our young environments. No excuses. But how he turned out the way he did seems clear already, even just from this. Yes, yes. Abuse, addiction from time of birth. It's a shame that, shame as it sounds like the aunt, perhaps grandparents could have been a lifeline to save him. I think the aunt was trying to. But you know, the grandparents and aunts and other family are helpless unless she allows it. It's very, very difficult for people to understand that. Oh, thank you, my child. Cold drink. It's really difficult for families, people to understand that. 14, and he's going to be tried as an adult because of the type of crime. Good girl. My doggy's like, mommy. And she's really good at sensing when I'm emotional, and I'm emotional right now. When I lost my husband to prison, I was told that my children had a high risk of turning out like this kid. I was told my children had a high risk of becoming offenders of some kind. I'm so grateful they're not, but I worked very hard to prevent that. We had a lot of people in our lives that helped to prevent that. No guarantee, but grateful. He's guilty. He is guilty, but the environment he was put in without saying caused the issue. Now I wonder if he was bullied at school. 14 is so young. It is. And I think that they are jumping at the gun at going where they're going with this criminally. Um, I know that the parents of the victims are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. I think once they're my lipstick looks weird. Once the grief process calms down a little bit and we get a little further away, some may change their minds. Although I've heard parents in school shootings in the past who have said it's hard to blame just the child. We're struggling just to blame the child. And I appreciate that. Someone said that in the Uvalde case when I was down there for that. But he needs to be held accountable. Don't get me wrong. He knew enough to know right and wrong. But is he mentally stable to be able to control his anger, frustration, and urges? Um, I don't know. I don't know. I think he's mad at the world, and I really feel bad for him. Not to the point that he doesn't deserve to be punished. But I think his mother needs to be a part of this as well. I think they need to look into her. I think one of the things that they will be looking at is where he got the lead shooter, how he got the lead shooter. Um, Either the boyfriend or the stepfather. I don't know if she remarried. A year ago, dealt with the FBI and said that his weapon was held in a safe place. No, thank you for asking. These are my old ones. I am waiting for my new lenses, but these are called silhouettes. They're really good for people who do what I do in sign language because when I'm signing, you can see everything. When I have frames, it's harder. And they're better for performing and this kind of stuff. Although if I do this, you can see it has the glare resistance. So, thank you though. I appreciate that. So, I'm really grieved for all of the people involved. All of the people involved. I shed some tears last night. I'm getting to the point to where this is affecting me. It was very heavy. I struggled. And as someone who's used to the heaviness as a chaplain and used to dealing with this, I went home and cried and prayed, fervently prayed. And that's all I can do. But what also grieves me today, just as much, different, but just as much, is the loss of life that this child has, even before this event. Yes, if there was no issues at home or school and he did it because he wanted to, then 100% should be blamed. Don't get me wrong. He did it. He's guilty, but there's more behind the story and the why. And that's what I think part of our society needs to look at. Um, the Crumblies created their child situation and he took responsibility. He was older too, but not much. And they gave him the lead shooters. They did not lock them up. They didn't have the childproof lock on it. They didn't have the ammunition stored separately. They didn't have the case secured that the lead shooter was in. Dot 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 dot. That was all on them. That's where they were found guilty. Um, yes, Marcy Colt is the biological mother. Yes, I will. For those who were just hopping on, may not have seen, this is a picture of the mother and her child. Place, place, or down, down. Uh, So, I'm working on a memorial thumbnail for the victims. When I talk about the other stuff, I always try to do a memorial thumbnail. Oop, we got a loud one. It was a very sad day, sad for all the students and those who, yes, this is the worst scenario. And he is young, he's a young kid. And the sad thing is this is what the kids think they have to do to get help or attention. I want to know what he was thinking. I thought maybe it was self-ending of life through cop, and that's the only way to do it. But um, yes, if you have any information, can you tag the website on the father? Does he have a record? But he gave up as soon as the cops came in. I don't know if he was thinking about it and then changed his mind. I apologize. I didn't sleep much last night. And I was up in here I was up at 6:30 this morning and then came here, did homework or schoolwork, classwork, college work, whatever you call it. It is the grandparents and the family of this shooter as well are going through hell. Um, yep, it is. And it's horrific that these students and teachers died. Oh, wow. And Lord have mercy, child. Oh, I got up about that time and go to the ladies' room, but thank you guys who were up late across the ocean. My fellow trial junkies across the ocean. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, I don't think we'll ever fully get into the reason or this inside the mind of this child or any child that does this. I don't even think they even have a good reason really within them at this age. But um, her past, I don't know if she's on probation still. I don't know where she is. The mother, Marcee, is in her legal process if she's been released of all conditions and everything's closed. But I want to know, where was CPS? I know they get a lot of bad rap. They really do. And there's a lot of good CPS workers out there, y'all. My neck is so tensed. Excuse me. They get a lot of bad rap, and there are a lot of fabulous CPS workers. Unfortunately, they are so overworked and they're so overwhelmed. They don't have enough social workers to work the caseloads. Partially because there are people who get pissed off at someone and file false reports. Parents going through divorce and get mad, file a false report. Somebody sneezes in the wrong direction and you can't get your vindication the way you want, file a false report. Hey, I'm speaking from experience. But this is serious, y'all. Why and how was this child overlooked? If you have a parent that's doing, hi, Genuine Heidi the Highlander. That's my little mascot, the Highlander cow back there. Everyone, blessings to all of you. Thank you so much. Blessings to you. I agree. The hurdles for CPS, or whatever you call them, CDS or whatever, Child Protection Services, the agencies, It is. It's horrendous, and it's difficult. Really off topic, what time is it when you're where you're from? It's currently 12:30. Okay, it is 12:31 PM here. So you are 12 hours difference. Where are you at, Ika? Oh, me and my mom. So obviously, by the way you said mum instead of mom, we're talking today about how many times my sister managed to wiggle out of things and lie and to keep my niece and nephew over years. Yeah. Yes. And that's part of the problem too, is they may know there's an issue, but they may not, sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. They may know there's an issue, but they may not have enough evidence to go to court. And that's one of the other systems. So we have a lot of problems in the system. I'm not blaming CPS by any means. I don't blame them. I blame the mother and the child. I just really struggle with this woman's arrest record. How in the heck did this get past them? For those of you who don't know who are just hopping on, um, oh, Dr. Bullbutter. Hey, Ada, you prayed for my friend's mom, Linda, the other day. She's going home. Oh, well, to a memory care facility from the hospital tomorrow. Just wanted to let you know. No, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Ada K. Recovery actors trying to find records of Colton Gray in custody in Barrow County. Can you point him in the right direction? Oh, you're welcome, Melissa. Let me try something. Um, I gotta try something. Here you go. Hold on a horse. Hold y'all horses. Oh, I hate it when I accidentally type in all caps. I apologize. Um, okay, put the feelers out. We'll see what we can do. Um, oh, same in the UK. They want to support. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Let me open another window, move it over here so I can keep seeing you guys. Um, let's see what I can find. No, I'm not going to go to that. I want the actual Colton County court. Let me see. It would be open up another window because I have to do this in two windows. So I am trying to get something. So it would be if they do it this way. Oh, I keep wrong. The issue is he's a minor, and so it won't be public. So I have somebody that is really good with getting court documents, but because he is a minor, it's not gonna be something we can get in our normal means to do so. Hey, the mouse, yes, as a worker to stand up in court with an ad item and get the well, thank you, Zach. Good afternoon. I saw you this morning. Oh, by the way, since we're talking about this, I might as well put the banner up. Um, mm, well, where did it go? Okay, just so y'all know, here, I'll make a banner. All A, I forgot how, oh, Apalachee. I don't know how else to put this, but I'll do this for now. Um, and that way y'all can see this. I said this last night and I mean it, and it will continue. There you go. Let's read that. Thank you, Zach. It will go there. Oh, who's Ann? Zach, who's Ann? Am I Ann now? Hmm? I think we've got about 100. Hello, Texas brother. Hey, I'm still waiting for you, Zach. I'm still waiting for you to come in. Um, you were a prosecutor specializing in crimes involving children. It was frustrating and heartbreaking. Well, Genuine Heidi, let me ask you your thoughts on this. I might even, I mean, would you come on and talk about it? My question is, do you feel they are charging him correctly right now or incorrectly? Y'all read the ticket. All super chats received. Hi, just a baby girl. Lay down. Um, because I don't know if they're charging him. I think they're jumping so fast. I know they got to charge in order to arrest, but do you think the charge of no, I don't like that. Do you think the charge as an adult is a little too much at this point or not? And if you'd like to come on, you can come on either voice or video and talk with us about this a little bit since you have experience in that area. Um, I was I don't know. I know where my heart is and I know where criminally is and they don't match. And what do you do when they don't match? I know we got to do legally, but I, that's heavy. This poor child was groomed. I mean, she herself is a criminal. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up. Sorry, guys. I was going to read it to you again. They can. You can always go up, down, but you can't go up, I think is what they say. Um, I don't want to see that. Open up the page I was reading. Okay, so the mother had an arrest record back in it starts off that according to public records, she was arrested in 23. Okay, 23, the same year he made the charge. What I mean by charge is the it's alleged in the threat. The same year for vehicle theft, drugs trafficking, possession, mischief, and meth. I mean, I even have her thing. Let me click on it and share screen. I am kind of in a little floored state that this was not more investigated. I'm a little wowed, and not in a good way. See right here. Okay, so this is after he made the threat. Yeah, you very well may. So, Marcee on November 6th of 23 concealed identity of a vehicle, drugs to keep in the drugs to be kept in original containers. So it was probably a certain class of medications that you're supposed to have prescriptions, and she didn't. Possession and using of drugs related objects, the sale and distribution of dangerous drugs, process of Schedule II controlled substance, hold for another agency. I wonder what that is. Criminal damage to property, second degree, possession of methamphetamines. I mean, really? And you're sitting here. I'm just really angry. This is a woman who was an engineer, well educated, and they get addictions too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, exactly. But it's just really okay. Okay, Renee. Let me see. I already sent you these. Okay. It it's hard not to. It's really in this situation hard not to. I'll be honest. But my situation, my feeling, an engineer, and she had been employed. This woman made good money at one point, but she was stealing from her family, according to her sister. All of this is according to the sister. All of it. Okay. This is only information we have right now that she was stealing from her family members, her mother, her father. She even is accused of tying up her mother and leaving her for dead. Ugh, I am so sorry, y'all. Oh, I need to wake up. Genuine Heidi, thank you so much. You are so sweet. And they thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. At Toyota at one point, I'm just saying there is no reason other than the addiction. No reason. And I cannot get my head around it. And I understand it's a disease. Mm-hmm. My second cup already. Fully loaded cup, not half and half. That's what happens when you get 5 hours sleep or less. Yeah. And there will be a couple more today, I'm sure. And I have a big old thing of tea my son brought me. Yes, thank you guys so very much. Um, I I'm going to we're gonna about 1:15 or whatever go over to the next live. Sensei, what's wrong? Come here, baby. What's wrong? Come here. Up, 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 up. Check me out. Am I okay? Hmm? Hmm? The baby girl. Come here. I love you. Okay, now you need to go lay down. Go place. Come on, go. No, 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 this way. Go place. Sorry. It's my hearing dog, and she's also very attuned to me with other stuff. Sensei, place. No, ma'am. Go place. Mama's okay. Place. Is there another fur baby there? You lay down. Down. Good girl. Oh, I know what you want. You want a tea. Well, for being so obedient. Yours. Um, the one thing I wish they would not be doing right now, which is really upsetting me, is putting the other children's pictures up in the media. Um, that ain't fair. Trying not to sneeze. Sorry. I'm trying so hard to. It's not fair to the other two children. Number one, they're minors. Why is media putting their pictures out there? This is angering me as well. If you notice, it took me 30 seconds to crop those kids out and make the thumbnail. I mean, this is appropriate. That's appropriate. I know he's a minor, but he committed a crime. And, um, there's that's a little different. Now, I am being careful with how much and what I put out there. I am, but at the same time, the other two children should not be plastered all over social media. They are not at fault. They're not responsible. They're not a part of this. They're super young. I want to know who's protecting those children. Who has those children right now? I'm sure social services is involved now. Where are those children? I'm hoping at least with the grandparents or the aunt, somebody, because they don't need to be home right now. When I had my situation and my husband was arrested and the media went into a massive media frenzy, I got him out of here. Actually, I decided to get him out of here before all that hit. I knew it was going to hit, but I made sure that they were nowhere around, and I made sure that there was no, pictures of them. Um, Even in the newspaper, they even put their names, and I I threatened to sue the hell out of them, and they never did it again. You can't. That's what happened to that. I'm on the verge of outrage about these children being aired who have nothing to do with this. And I struggle with the news crew who were grabbing teenagers, minors, as they walk down the street without a custodial parent and putting them on TV. Now, at the age, I think, of 17, that's a little different. Um, but they weren't all it's pulling a hair. Don't y'all hate it, ladies, when you put a hair clip in and it just pulls on one? Oh, there we go. So I'm a little bit perturbed with the media right now. So I'm going to say for you guys, and I'm going to ask you guys, if you guys share any of the media stuff, please do not put the pictures of the other two children. Uh, there's a bunch of family pictures floating around right now, and I don't think it's fair for those kids. Um, None to say the least. For those of you who were just joining, the mother of the shooter in the Apalachee High School, Colt, um, has a bad past. And uh, that I would like to see. I'd like to see that. I love it when my daughter's here. She braids my hair. As Native American, Irish, but I don't allow anybody but my daughter or family to touch my hair unless it's getting cut. But anyway, I wanna know where his father is in all this. Oh, okay. Yes, put it in Discord. Instant message me, Zach, so I'll know who when I see someone coming in the door on the camera, if I know it's you or a customer. I'm still waiting. You promised me. You promised me. You promised me, and you still haven't. Understand. So, um, yeah, where are her other kids? Right now, we know for sure that, of course, he's gonna be held without bond. I've gotta do this. It's killing me. I gotta reset it. Oh, probably because it's in a ponytail. Oh, thank you, Hollabutt. I mean, Hollabutt. Thank you. Hello, it's Brit. Thank you so much, beloved. It will it will be applied. Um, so the young man will be held without bond, of course, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of psychological testing and a lot of stuff going on. I am hoping that. All right, I'm going to take it off. It just hurts. It just hurts, y'all. Ugh. I'm hoping that at some point in the young man's life, they give him the help he needs and that he is, maybe at some point in his life, hopefully get out and have some kind of life. I understand a lot of people are angry and want to see him stay for a long time and never get free and all of that, but it depends on the situation for me. It really does. And the situation for me and all this, it appears at this time that the mother, and the way in the environment that he was in may have contributed to this situation a little bit. And if this is true, I feel really sorry for him. Now, on the other side of the coin, we have not heard the mother's side of all this. We are going strictly on reports, an arrest record. So I'm going to preface this that this is not 100% validated information, but the rest record is pretty much what it is. I got to do it, guys. It just hurts. I don't know why my scalp is hurting, but it's hurting. So let me take the ponytail out and redo this. Oh, that already feels better. Um, I have a very tough head, but sensitive to tension. I don't know how else to explain that. There we go. So, Marcee Gray of Fitzgerald, Georgia, has been identified as the mother of Colt Gray, the student who ended the lives of 4 people in the mass shooting yesterday. According to public records, she was arrested in 2003, vehicle theft, drugs, trafficking, possession, mischief, and meth, and more. Yeah. Well, there are some young people that are just have good family upbringing, have good exposure, very good support, and still get off the rails and choose to do something very bad. I get that. We all get that. But this young man, if there were any influences, oh, okay. My research person, one of 2 fabulous, um, I'll see what I can find in Georgia is notoriously difficult to get case documents from. We won't be able to see anything related to child protective services or really any family court stuff. Okay, but I understand and thank you so very much. And that is true. We may not be able to get much. That's just a sad fact, and I apologize. But I have purposefully this morning would help if I did that. This morning, I have purposefully not watched a lot of this stuff because I needed a mental break. I know when I need to take care of myself, and that's one thing I want to talk to everybody about. It's National White Cat Day in the UK. Happy National White Cat Day. And you'd fit right in there. Um, it is very, 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 what was I going to say? I know, isn't it? Isn't that cool? Oh, that's what I was going to say. Go, all of you. This can be very triggering. Some of us have dealt with mass shootings in schools with our own children. Luckily, I haven't, but there are people out there who have. Um, if you are triggered by any of this, please, please, please take care of yourself. Make sure that you are just advocating for your own need. Take a break, come back. It's okay. Don't traumatize yourself, you know. And people like us who do this, sometimes we get in a position to where we get a little traumatized because we're trying to give all this to you. And I kind of was getting a little oversaturated yesterday. But that said, I want to provide this information in a very kind, safe, and loving environment if I can. Um, Let me see what time my other live is scheduled to go live at, if I can. I really, really mean it when I say I hope that you guys will. Oh, 1:45. Okay, we got plenty of time. I hope that you guys will pray for all involved, and that includes the victims and the perpetrators' families, because everybody's a victim in this. There's no win-win here. None. Nobody wins here. There is, I'm looking just for the trial footage and stuff. 2 minutes, I think. I think it's 40. I don't know. I thought it was 2 o'clock their time. So I'm going to my trial feeds and see if they have anything up. Is that 2:45 PM my time or their time? So an hour and a half. Oh, okay. I may have to switch my time on my thing. Um, but guys, please, please keep everybody in your prayers. Okay. And let's see what other news is going. Oh, for those who didn't know, this morning I was a guest on Broken Baker. I saw he was on, and he was talking about the Sarah Boone case. Yes, I do that because she's a hot red siren. Let me tell you, that girl is a siren. And oh my gosh, y'all. Whew, if you haven't seen the behavioral notes, I did a whole live and we read through 75 pages, I believe, of behavioral notes. And this girl is a manipulating hot mess with a mouth that won't shut up. And we were talking about why she was collecting all the odd things that she was found that were contraband in her cell and all that mess. And then we were talking about her court appearance the other day. Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh, um, possibly. One of the things I want to know what her psyche eval shows. I'm not kidding. I want a full panel psych eval. I want to know what diagnosis they're going to throw on that wall. I, uh, she's a case. She's on TV as a teenager? Really? What was she on TV for, Eddie? Update me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Her attorney's good. Her attorney is real good. Very good. And I think the reason why she is doing what she's doing in the contraband and everything in her cell is because, well, she needs to pay for him. What? Can you find the video, Eddie? And send me the link in chat? That'd be funny to see. Okay, so those of you who don't know, part of all the stuff in her cells can conceal inappropriate or illegal substances. We'll go there. But wow. Yeah. Ed, if you can find it, I appreciate it. I'm going to do a check real quick back over to the current topic of the high school shooter's mom. I'm seeing what we have on. I'm going to go to Fox 32 News. We are going to share that and just watch it. I feel more mentally able to listen to more stuff right now. It was a lot for me last night, but let's go on and listen. Let me rewind this. Pause it while I mute. Okay.
This afternoon, a sheriff's report says users of the social media site Discord tipped off the FBI about that Georgia school shooting suspect. The revelation comes as we learn more about the victims and the suspected gunman. Rebecca Castor has the latest.
The 14-year-old suspect is being held at a youth detention center, and according to police, he was identified as a possible threat last year.
The student accused of killing 4 people at Apalachee High School has been on law enforcement's radar since last year, when the FBI received tips about online threats regarding a possible school shooting. Investigators say they interviewed the teen and his father, but did not have enough evidence to make an arrest.
He was 13 years old. He's a juvenile, and none of the possible charges at the time would have applied to a 13-year-old under Georgia law. A murder does.
The teen is being charged with murder and will be tried as an adult. He's accused of opening fire using an AR-style weapon, killing 2 14-year-old students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angelo, and 2 teachers.
It's up all the way on my end. Haley Mouse, can you turn it up on your end?
Talk about school shootings and whatnot, but then when it actually happens to you,
that better?
I don't know, it feels like some weird nightmare.
A classmate says before the shooting, the suspect left class and returned later to get back into the room, but students who went to open the locked door backed away.
I'm guessing they saw something. I could just see him kind of turn to the side, like what would have been my right, and you just hear gunshots.
Nearly a dozen other people were injured in the shooting, but police say they are all expected to survive. In Winder, Georgia, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
When he finally got out of the classroom, my teacher started barricading the door with discs and bookshelves and all that. And then I had got up. I had saw one of my classmates on the ground bleeding so bad.
Well, those are the words of 14-year-old Marquez Coleman recounting the moment a gunman opened fire in his classroom yesterday at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. Now, our coverage of this tragedy continues, and we're going to talk to Erin Clark, who is the mother of another high school student there. And, you know, what you had posted was a text exchange between your child and yourself. I want to get to that, but first, I just want to see how you are doing. A day after, this is the sort of thing you watch on the news. You don't expect to be a part of it. How are you and your son feeling today?
I'm still in complete shock.
Ed.
I still disbelief. We're a small county, like we're a small community, and it just blows my mind. It's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, here's this small, quiet community. You move to these areas because the last thing you want to think about is safety, And
I'll be
was
right back.
looking at your text exchange, and I'm a mom too, so I can't help but to put myself in that position, the position you were in with your child saying, "I'm scared," and you're like, and you text back, I'm leaving work. I love you." In those moments, do you even have a sense of what you can do, what you can accomplish? When you got those text messages, what was going through your mind?
I was like, is this really happening? I was shocked, in complete shock. I work at a warehouse and I had on a helmet, and I just threw my helmet off and ran into a truck so that I could make a phone call. He didn't answer. So that's when I texted, and I was just like, I'm leaving work. And I told my boss, I was like, this is happening. Bye. And I just left. I was running out of there.
Did you even know what you were running to, what you would do once you got to the school?
I knew that I wouldn't be able to get in the school or get to him, but I knew I had to get close. I knew I had to be there.
Yeah.
On the way there were a lot of parents traveling to the school, a lot of cars parked on the side of the street. We couldn't get to the school exactly, so everybody parked on the street and then just started walking. And once we got closer to the school, officers were directing all the parents to go to the football field and wait for their kids there. So that's where I went. And when I saw him, I was very, very relieved.
Oh, I can only imagine. There's probably isn't a word. Relief is probably not a strong enough word to throw your arms around him like that and know that he's safe. And speaking of his safety, I mean, were you ever concerned about his safety, sending him off to school?
No, I mean, I've thought in the past, like when these shootings happen, like it's got to be so scary as a child to go to school these days and have to think about that or wonder or worry about that. Never in a million years would I have thought that would happen to my kid in school. No.
I don't know if you heard, but we're learning today that the school actually sort of gave faculty and staff these like enhanced cards to get into the school that have panic buttons on them. So they were able to immediately sort of put the school in lockdown without having to make a bunch of phone calls and stuff like that. Did you know about that?
No, I did not. That's awesome.
I mean, I think they just got it like just a handful of days ago, which is really remarkable. Yeah. And so I want to ask you, did you feel like the school has been doing enough to keep students safe? Is it about the school or is it bigger than the school?
Oh, gosh. I think they are doing a lot, but I mean, how do you contain that? I don't know. I don't know if it will ever go away, to be honest. I mean, they can hide guns, and if they don't have metal detectors, when they go inside, how are they going to stop that? And they don't have that.
Yeah.
School doesn't have that.
Is that something you would want in your child's school?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm scared to send him back. I don't know what to do. He's a senior. It's his last year. I don't want to pull him out and do homeschool, or I want him to experience, his last year, senior year, but I'm terrified.
I know we're just sort of learning about the suspect. Did your son, know this person at all, or ever even heard the name?
No.
It's a big school.
That's a freshman, so he's 14. Right. So such a child. That just blows my mind.
Yeah. And that the FBI had spoken to him and his father a year ago when he was just 13 years old.
Yes.
What does that make you think?
Yeah, that's another layer to it. Like they've already done an investigation and nothing turned up from that, and it still happened. So, I mean, how are they going to stop it? It's just, I don't know.
So no classes for the rest of the week, but I presume come Monday, I don't know what the plan is, the classes will resume. And, what are you going to talk to your son about? How are you guys going to be feeling when you have to head back?
My son is surprisingly doing very well.
Eddie,
he was actually the one that closed his classroom door and started moving desks in front of the door with another student. Because he knew something was up. Some kids were thinking that it was a joke or wasn't gunshots, but he was really brave and he's doing great. I expect him to continue to do great. I'm impressed and I'm so proud of him. So I think he's going to be okay. I
Well,
think I'm more than he is.
yeah, I would be too. Well, you know, Aaron, thank you so much for talking to us about this. I'm really, really sorry that something like this has happened with you and your family. You should be incredibly proud of your son to have the presence of mind to make those choices and decisions to help to keep himself and his classmates safe under those sort of conditions. I can't imagine. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are going to begin this morning with another American community reeling from deadly gun violence. The shooting happened yesterday morning at Apalachee High School in Winder. That's roughly
Y'all,
45 miles
I'm trying
northeast
to
of Atlanta.
pull up something important. Hold
Investigators
on.
say a student armed with an AR-style weapon shot and killed 2 14-year-old students and 2 teachers. 9 other people were taken to the hospital with injuries. Classes have been canceled through the end of the week. All of this unfolding just 35 days into the new school year, marking the deadliest school shooting in Georgia's history. One student shared her account of the terrifying moment with our Jerika Duncan.
All I remember is him at the door, the teacher seeing him at the door, saying over the intercom, like, oh, he's here. Students going to open the door, then backing up from the door, I guess if they saw something. And then you kind of see him turn more to like my right side, and then you just hear about 10 to 15 shots.
Well, Jerika Duncan is at Apalachee High School this morning. Jerika, I know often when things like this happen, even though the school is not in session right now, people often gather around the area. What is the scene like this morning?
Well, you can probably see behind me, Anne-Marie, there's still the caution tape. There are a number of vehicles in the parking lot to my right and also to my left where you can't see. But essentially, you can only imagine that some of those belong to the students or even staff that were just trying to get out of here yesterday as they gathered, not knowing what exactly was going on in the moments after hearing those gunshots. To give you a sense of what is happening, though, in the community, this morning, the local Starbucks is closed. And there was a message on Facebook by a woman who said she's the store manager and that her son is a sophomore and that he lost his football coach. And that because the community is mourning, that they will not have that store open today or tomorrow. We know that the schools have shut down in this area. So we imagine people will probably gather here at the school later. There'll be news conferences possibly to update the media on what's next. We know there was a prayer vigil last night, but I think it's really starting to sink in with some of the people that I have spoken to in the short time that I've been here. This is something they'll never forget. I mean, we've been on many of these school shootings now over the course of my career.
Okay, guys, the reason I have been real quiet, which is a rarity, I know, is that my little truth fairy, as we call the person who wishes to remain anonymous, has gotten me into where the court case is. However, there's nothing listed yet other than a warrant copy, no image. He was booked. I mean, it was filed on 9/4/24. But that's all we have right now. Okay. But at least I have an access site. So thank you, Truth Fairy. You're awesome. I'm going to did I screenshot this? Let me screenshot this again. And I will get it to Mr. R.A. How is everybody doing? We're going to continue watching this for a moment while I take care of this. I share my information with some people, and I believe that they will want to have it. So let me go ahead and continue playing this, and I'll be
I know
right here.
you've covered them as well, Anne-Marie. And it's different when it happens to your school or when it happens in your hometown. And that's the sentiment that we're hearing. People have seen this play out before, but when it happens to your place that you call home or that you
Yes,
think
I
is
have.
safe,
Oh, let's
it
address that.
changes you.
Yes, and that kid is the picture I showed last night to the mother and the family. I apologize, but I did remove that live and take it down instantly. So it is no longer up. That live has been removed. But the mom went on somewhere, and it has been stated by the sheriff's department and everybody else that there is a confusion. So the kid in the picture that I have is the appropriate child. Okay.
It changes you without a doubt.
Indeed. Are we learning anything more about the victims?
Well, what I can tell you, and we should definitely mention them, their names, 14-year-olds Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angula. And then the teachers that were killed in this are Christina Ermy and Richard Aspinwall. Richard Aspinwall is the one that was referred to in the Facebook message, who was a football coach. And you see him there on the screen along with the other three that
That is the
died in this
gentleman
tragedy.
that Brandy Birchwell, or juror number 13, her friend, son, goes to school there. Her good friend's son goes to school there. That was his coach or teacher. There's a connection, and I feel really bad for all of them.
Something that stuck out to me this morning, Gail King spoke to one of the students, and he talked about Christina Ermy and said that she was a math teacher. He didn't do well in algebra. He had to take it again, but she was the type of teacher that didn't make him feel insecure about it. He reminisced about some of the jokes that she would tell and always reminding him to get to class on time. So I'm sure we're going to learn more about these incredible students, the teachers, but definitely a tough time for those. And we're learning more about a safety system too that authorities say help to prevent even more deaths.
Yeah, that is really remarkable, and we're probably going to end up talking about that a little bit later. But what about the suspect in this case? I know it's super early in terms of the investigation, but anything about a motive or who this person is?
Yeah, so 14 years old, police have him in custody. He's expected to appear in court tomorrow. Something that I think shocked many of us as we were getting the news last night is the press release where the FBI acknowledged that they had been notified by an anonymous tip of someone last year, May of 2023. So he was 13 years old, led authorities to his house because of online threats to commit a school shooting. They talked to his father. The father acknowledged he's a hunter, he had guns, but at the time, the suspect denied that he had made any type of online threats talking about a school shooting. And here we are more than a year later. So we do know that there were concerns about his behavior, apparently. We're expecting to learn a little bit more about the timeline of events, if anybody knew any more about what he was planning to do. But that's
I think the area where a lot of the people were injured had the math department. So now I don't know if that person survived, is the same math teacher or not. Remember, I told you there was a math teacher that had a wound in the hip and in the foot, and they were going off to surgery and expected to live. However, there can be complications of surgery, but I don't know if it was the same person or another math teacher that was unalived. No, coach did not make it. Did not. I clarified that. I did. I just sent some, I just shared some information with some people, so hopefully they got it. Let me know if it works for you. So, good news is now I have a way to follow this. The bad news is right now there's nothing posted other than the warrant. So we'll stay on top of that for
pretty
y'all.
much what we do know. At
Eddie,
this
I'll
hour,
give that
Anne
to
Marie.
you
All right, Jerika, thank you very much.
directly.
So for more analysis, I want to bring in Anna Schechter. She is CBS News coordinating producer for crime and public safety. Thanks for joining us again, Anna. So you heard Jerika
Ronnie,
talk about
sorry.
the FBI meeting with the suspect and his father last year. This is exactly how it's supposed to go, right? If you see something, say something. Someone said something. The FBI questioned them, but they weren't able to do anything afterwards. Can you talk about whether, what would sort of stop the FBI from any sort of intervention? It's a good system, it seems like on paper, but not always in practice.
Real quick, Eddie, were you the one that was asking for RA information? Was that you? If it was, I sent it to him.
It's a great question. Look at the FBI at the national level. They were
Okay.
able to actually track this threat to a school, figure out that it was coming from Georgia, alert the Atlanta FBI, the local office, who then alerted the local police, who then went and found the family and questioned the father about this 13-year-old boy's threats online. At the time, the boy denied it, but the evidence was online. So all of that worked. So that system worked. And that's the great work of these federal investigators who are living online and monitoring hate. They're monitoring threats. So all of that worked. But if you look at Georgia state laws, they have the weakest gun laws, some of the weakest gun laws in the country. They are right down there in the bottom 10, where there are no red flag laws. And the father told police that he legally owned guns, that he enjoyed hunting. And so those AR style guns are allowed if you obtain them legally and they're used for sport. There are no laws restricting a family from having those guns, even if the federal investigators had flagged a potential problem. And that's where we have this breakdown. So if you look at the map, there's this patchwork of gun laws, and it varies state by state, and it makes it very difficult to have a comprehensive solution to this problem. We keep seeing these school shootings, we keep seeing mass shootings. This year, 2024, is on track to be on par with this upward trend in gun violence. School shootings, ever since 2018, we've seen a spike in deaths in or around shootings. In 2021 and 22, we had particularly high numbers. So now it's coming down a little bit, but we're significantly higher than 2014. So this is an upward trend.
You see, I'm like quickly sort of Googling, trying to remember that Michigan case. I think it was Michigan case. Ethan Crumbley, whose parents were charged.
Yes.
First time that ever happened. So as you're talking, I was thinking, what some of the reporting suggests is that when the FBI met with this young man and his father, the father, told the FBI that the guns were secure. Surely there must be some sort of law. Clearly, the gun's not secure. If it turns out to be,
They
the
should
case
have
that the
looked,
suspect
not
is
told
responsible for
him.
this.
They should have verified.
Surely there must be some sort of laws then surrounding that.
Well, the father said that the boy never had unsupervised access to the guns. And so at the time, and the FBI put out a statement that at the time, there was no kind of legal recourse for officials to take to actually step in and confiscate those guns. So there were no laws that would have empowered. At that point, it was a local police office that sent officials to do the questioning.
Geez. Well, we're going to be learning more and more about this case. It's just disturbing
awesome.
in any way you look at it. Anna, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Zach, that is awesome.
And that's where we're going to begin, with a lot of hurting hearts and a lot of hate, it seems, in this country. It's happened again in another American community reeling from deadly gun violence. Here's what we know so far. It happened at Apalachee High School, that's in Barrow County, Georgia, about 45 miles east of Atlanta. Investigators say that a student opened fire, killing 2 other students, both of them just 14 years old, and 2 teachers. The weapon was an AR-style rifle. 9 others have been hurt, and the alleged killer is also 14 years old. His name, we're told, is Colt Gray, and he is now in custody. He has been charged with murder, and prosecutors say that he will be tried as an adult.
This is the deadliest school shooting in Georgia's history. 14-year-old Marcee Coleman saw the shooter open fire.
I'm sitting like this and the door is like this. So something just told me to look to my left. I look to my left. I see a kid he had like a big gun, like an AR with he got his head sticking out the door with the gun. And then he just started, then I got up, I started running, he started.
Okay, Ed. I'd love to show you, but I'd get in trouble if I did. I'd say Google it, but it looks very similar to one that the popos and military carry. Hello, Queen Olive Louvain. How you doing, Ruth Ann? I have a dear friend who's named Ruth Ann. I love her to death. Hello, Haley, kiss me cow. Haley, exactly. I live in a community where weapons are everywhere, but made a decision not to have any in my home or allow my son to go to a family's home with them. Amen there, Eddie. Okay, guys, as y'all know, I'm a licensed carrier. I have them, but not until my children were old enough. I mean, they weren't young. It's only been in the last few years, and they're 20 and 24 years old. But understand, some people use them um, literally for hunting and putting food on the table. They have ranches, and I mean, I'm not going to say you can't or can't. I'm not going to get in that debate. I believe everybody has a right to choose. I'm not going to hold it against somebody like Kiss Me Cal for not having one. It is a very personal choice, and that is not something I'm going to get in a debate over. But I do firmly believe if you have them, you bring them into your home, you were ultimately responsible for it. Even if a child that's yours or a child that's sleeping over or guest in your home, I never would allow a child in my home from a friend's house if I had a weapon that could potentially be gotten. I'd put it in the back of my car and I would hide it or remove it from the premises. I would be so cautious, and I just can't understand parents who are not. That is how I personally feel. I would never invite a group of kids over if I had a weapon in the home that was accessible in any way, shape, or form. That is my humble opinion, and that's how I operate. Um, well, and I understand Kiss Me Cow. I agree. I agree because I wouldn't have anybody's kid in my home because I don't know where they are. You know, if you have a sleepover, you know how kids like to have sleepovers. If I had a sleepover with kids in my home, the weapon would not be in my home at all, nor would alcohol. And any prescription medication that could harm somebody is under lock and key. That's me personally. I don't disagree with you. Um, yes. I have to be careful with showing what it is. I could pull it up just like you can. Yes. Now, there are some people. Yes, my 14-year-old's gone through firearm safety 3 times in 4 years. He hunts and does competitive trap shooting. Okay, but that's education and that's good. And now my kids didn't go through the class, but they went through the class with Pawpaw. Parents that are also stay trained. Say, yeah, I'm yeah, I've got a lot of training. But you're doing the responsible thing, Kiss Me Cow. You recognize that in your household, and you recognize where your family is at, and thus you choose to do the responsible thing and not have one. That is the key right there. If you know you have a child that is troubled in any way, and I'm not saying there's no shame, there's no I'm not, you know, there's no shame here. Then you don't do it. You don't. I think because your ARs and your AKs to some people look the same or too similar. That's why. That is right. Ed, I appreciate the information you gave. I'm going to ask if anybody gives any of this kind of information. Let's kind of label it a little differently so it's not as easily. Okay. You're not Kiss Me Cow. This is something I wanted to talk about. You just triggered me into it, and that's fine. You are not starting anything. I'm just saying, in general, this is not political. This is called safety. I don't go political, but I will go safety. Okay. I think you're fine. You've not done anything wrong. I appreciate what you have shared. I thank you that you've shared what you did because it's vulnerable and I appreciate you sharing it. Putting a baby in the proper car seat, you're being a responsible parent. No one knows their child better than a mama. We have to make hard decisions. You are 100% good. And that's right. And it's like, why would you put a child in a car seat? To me, it's like this. If you know you have a troubled child, which she did, or they should have known when the FBI came knocking on their door. And at that point, the lead shooter should have been removed as a responsible parent. Guys, my head is tender for some reason, and I don't want to, I may just have to put my hair down. So it's like, to me, if I knew my kid was troubled and I had a weapon in the home, that's like having a kid in a child's seat, but not putting the seatbelt through the child's seat. You don't secure the child seat first and put your kid in it. You just put your kid in it and put the seat, the 5-point harness on, but the seat with the child is flying all over the car. That's how I feel. The police said it was an AR. Well, yes, but these children don't, a lot of these kids don't know a big difference between the AR and an A15, but it's close. Yep. Or the parent, not just the FBI, the parent. Oh, you're welcome. I have to get this. We're going to keep playing.
Shooting like 10 times. He shot at least 10 times. And then I ran to the back of the classroom. I dived behind the desk, and my teacher had got in front of me like he was guarding. But like the gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking, like, and everything. And then I got when he finally got out of the classroom, my teacher started barricading the door with discs and bookshelves and all that. And then I had got up. When I had got up, I had saw one of my classmates on the ground bleeding so bad.
Marquez's father said his son called him during the shooting screaming and crying. Later, he found a bullet hole in a laptop marked by a bullet in his son's backpack. Mark Strassman is in Barrow County, Georgia with the latest. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Nate. The FBI now says that local deputies questioned the suspect and his father last year. The reason at the time, online threats to carry out a school shooting by the suspect, who was 13 years old at the time. But the father told deputies that his son had no access to guns in the house. The suspect denied making those threats at the time. And so there were no arrests until yesterday.
First responders rushed to Apalachee High School around 10:20 Wednesday morning after getting reports of an active shooter. Investigators say 2 school resource officers quickly encountered a 14-year-old student with an AR platform-style weapon inside the school. They say he quickly surrendered.
When this shooting began, they interacted with the shooter, and as soon as they made contact with him, he gave up immediately.
The sheriff credits a fast response to school faculty. They alerted law enforcement to an active situation using a button on ID cards, a new system he said had been in use for only about a week.
The heroes that we need to remember is our faculty and staff here at this school. They acted admirably. The protocols at this school and this system activated, prevented this from being a much larger tragedy than what we had here today.
Investigators say the shooter killed 4 people, including 2 students, 14-year-old Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn, and 2 teachers, 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall and 53-year-old Christina Ermey. 8 other students and 1 teacher were taken to hospitals with gunshot wounds and other injuries and are expected to survive.
What was going through your mind?
I was scared because I didn't know if my mom was informed. I was crying,
I was scared I was going to die.
Melanie Alvarez says she hurried from the bathroom to her classroom when a school alarm went off.
You really thought this could be it?
Yeah, because we heard banging the first time, and then we heard somebody yell, get down," to somebody outside of the hall, but we didn't know who it was.
Single file line down this aisle right here.
After catching the suspect, police say they went class by class,
We got a whole school to get evacuated.
evacuating the roughly 1,900 students to the football field to reunite with their parents.
Could have been me.
Freshman Ariana Carter said police escorted her down a hallway where shots had been fired.
We, of course, see like the blood and stuff from them, and they have it like dusted off, so like it's kind of covered, but not really. There's a shoe that was bloody on it.
Love will prevail over what happened today.
Wednesday night, hundreds came together for a vigil.
I just felt like I needed to be here.
Samantha Huff graduated from Apalachee High School 2 years ago, but came home to Winder after hearing about the shooting.
You just have the sense that many people here are just shattered.
It's quite literally shattered. Like, it's just, I don't even think I fully comprehended it. It's just like thinking about it, it's just never going to be the same again. Like, our little small town is always going to have this hurt in our heart because of this.
Suspect Colt Gray is being held at a regional youth detention facility. The sheriff says he is cooperating, but so far the motive remains unclear. Gail, so sad.
It's beyond sad. I can't wait to hear what he says. Nothing he says will make this all right, but I hope we can get some insight into his thinking.
Well, good morning. I'm Marcee Gray, and this morning, another American community is reeling from deadly gun violence after a horrific mass shooting at a Georgia high school. Investigators say a student opened fire at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. Yesterday morning, 4 people were killed. 9 others were injured. Officers confronted the 14-year-old suspect at the scene and took him into custody, and they say that he was armed with an AR-style weapon. The victims were identified as 2 14-year-old students and 2 teachers. Police identified the alleged shooter as Colt Gray, who they say will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. The high school is located roughly 45 miles northeast of Atlanta, and that is where we find CBS News' Dave Malkoff, who is following the very latest on this tragic situation. Dave, good morning.
It really is, Anne-Marie, and it is now the worst case of school violence in Georgia state history. When parents tried to get here, it was very difficult. It was traffic time of the day, but also the streets were blocked off because of this police activity. They didn't care about that. They abandoned their cars by the side of the road, left the doors swinging, and just came running, in some cases, 2.5 miles to get right here, to get to their kids.
Let's begin to change.
A community is in mourning after another unspeakable American tragedy. Yesterday, just before 10:30 a.m., police say a 14-year-old student carrying an AR-style rifle opened fire at Apalachee High School, located just about an hour outside of Atlanta.
The gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking. I saw one of my classmates on the ground, bleeding so bad.
Students and teachers barricaded themselves in classrooms.
You can hear gunshots like just ringing out through the school, and like you're just wondering like which one of those is going to be somebody that you're like best friends with or somebody that you love.
The suspected shooter, identified as Colt Gray, was taken into custody alive. Later, roughly 1,900 students were escorted out of the school and onto the football field where they reunited with their families.
The FBI says the suspect and his father were both questioned by Jackson County Sheriff's officials last year after they received anonymous online tips about a school shooting threat. But at that point, they did not have probable cause to make an arrest.
When someone preys on kids, it's tragic.
Last night, we learned the names of the 2 14-year-olds who were killed, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angelo. Also killed were 2 math teachers, Christina Aramy and Richard Aspinwall. 8 other students and 1 teacher were all taken to local hospitals with gunshot wounds, but they are expected to survive.
Last week, the school swapped out the IDs for all of the faculty who are here at the school. Why does that matter? Well, these are a new kind of ID that actually has a panic button on it. When you press that panic button, you can put the whole school into a lockdown. It will send out your GPS coordinates down to exactly which part of the classroom you are in. It will send out alerts throughout the school, lock it all down, and have police come running. So nobody actually had to call the police. They already knew this was going on because students, actually the teachers, were able to press that panic button right there.
That is absolutely remarkable. I'm sure they thought and hoped that they would never have to use that panic button, much less use it so soon after receiving it. I know the day is just starting there, but I don't know if you've been able to talk to people, but what's it been like there on the ground?
It's really, really rough for a lot of parents, for a lot of alumni, for a lot of students. We talked to them yesterday here at the school and also at a candlelight vigil that was the most quiet candlelight vigil I've ever been to, with hundreds and hundreds of people from rival schools, from people who went to school here in the district a long time ago, including the sheriff himself. He went to this district, and everybody was remembering these 4 people. We're talking about 2 14-year-old students who were shot and killed here, and 2 math teachers here, and they are all remembered. There are also 9 other people who are in the hospital, all with gunshot wounds of some kind. None of the people who went to the hospital because of any other injury except for gunshot wounds, according to the sheriff that I talked to yesterday. But they are all expected to survive in this. But these emotional scars, you know, Anne-Marie, will last for a very, very long time.
Yeah, most definitely, Dave. Thank you very much.
Back to school terror in North Georgia as a teenager with a gun goes on an alleged shooting spree at Apalachee High School. Reports indicate 4 people have died and more than a dozen others were injured. It started after 10 a.m. this morning. The response was fast as law enforcement and first responders tried to save as many lives as possible. The alleged shooter is reportedly just 14 years old. There are a lot of questions tonight about what happened, why it happened, and who is responsible. Tonight, we are live from the scene of this horrific tragedy with all the latest details about the victims and the horror inside the hallways of the high school. Then we'll take a look at how our system of justice will handle this alleged 14-year-old mass killer. What is justice for this killer, and where is the justice for these innocent victims?
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. It's going to be a tough hour, okay? It's going to be a tough hour. You know it. I know it, because it's happened again. Let's start here, though. Have you ever had jury duty? Have you ever been involved in a lawsuit? Have you ever gone to a courthouse? Try to get in that courthouse. Try to walk into the courthouse. It doesn't happen because of the armed security that's at every courthouse in this country. Now, why? Why do we have armed security at courthouses? Well, I'll tell you why. I remember I was a young prosecutor, real young prosecutor. And in one of the neighboring counties where I was in New Jersey, guess what? There was a courthouse shooting. Guess what happened the next day when I went to work? I went through security, which didn't exist the day before. Because they realized, oh, wait, this is potentially dangerous. So how on earth do we secure a building? How do we do that? Oh, let's get some metal detectors. We'll get some officers. It's not being a rocket scientist here. Try to go to a government building. For goodness sake, try to go to an REO Speedwagon concert. You don't just walk in. You don't. Because everyone's concerned about safety. All of the politicians, they're concerned about safety where they work. Yet somehow, some way, after all these shootings like at Parkland, at Oxford, we learned nothing? And we're in the same position? And by the way, I know there's going to be a whole bunch of people that want to get political about this, talk about we got to get rid of guns. Good luck with that. Good luck seizing 300 million guns and changing the Constitution to the United States. It's not going to happen. And by the way, it's not going to happen tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year. It's not going to happen. But you know what can happen tomorrow, the next day, in a week? Is you could secure every single school. We don't do it. And it happened again today in Georgia. It happened again today. And unfortunately, we sit here and we do nothing and we let the politicians talk about whatever their talking points are about trying to solve this problem. Instead of solving the problem, just stop it. I mean, are we having courthouse shootings all the time? No. Why aren't we? Because they're secured buildings for decades now. For decades. And it wasn't that difficult. It really wasn't. I don't understand that. When are we going to secure our schools? Is there anything more oh, we can't afford it. Really? But you can afford dead kids? By the way, for the kids, they are mandated to go to school, right? So the government tells them you've got to go to school, yet the government doesn't do anything and everything to protect them when they get there. You can point your finger at this one, that one. If I was on a board of education, why would you not have a meeting tonight and say, well, how are we going to secure every school in our district? Why would you not have that conversation? Why is this so hard? Why don't we care? I don't understand it. I really don't. So let's find out about what happened again today in Georgia. You've got the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the local sheriff speaking about the details of yet another one of these tragedies.
At approximately 10:20 a.m. this morning, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office received alerts about reports of an active shooter and radio traffic from school resource officers concerning the same concern or having the same concern. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody. Additionally, what I want you to know as of now, there are 4 individuals who are deceased from this incident, 9 that have been taken to local hospitals with various injuries. Of those that are deceased, 2 are students and 2 are teachers here at the school. The priority right now for us within this investigation is to gather all the facts, to make sure that we're accurate with it, because this is a murder investigation. As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody. His name is Colt, that's Colt Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the school, Gray. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult and handled as an adult. We're coordinating these charges and obviously this investigation with District Attorney Brad Smith, who is the District Attorney for the Piedmont Judicial Circuit here. Since early this morning we talked with you, and since the incident occurred, numerous interviews have been taking place through our investigation with students, faculty, as well as any other witnesses that we could identify. Law enforcement had a very, very swift response to this incident once the incident was determined that there was a concern here. Currently, from the investigative perspective, we have crime scene agents and other special agents from the GBI, from close to a dozen of our different work units from across the state that have responded here today to work on this investigation, again, collecting evidence, conducting interviews, and so forth. I do want to pass this along, that if anyone has any information that wants to be passed on concerning this investigation, that they can do that anonymously at our tip line at 1-800-597-TIPS or 1-800-597-8477.
They can also report this on by downloading the See Something, Send Something app. They can be done by Android or Apple phones, either one. If they need to report any tips concerning this investigation. Let me close out before I turn this over to the sheriff and let you just remind you that this is still a very active investigation. There is still a lot that is very fluid. There's still a lot of interviews to be conducted that will continue on into the night, as well as crime scene work and collecting and gathering evidence. But what is more important for me to mention here to you is my heartfelt sympathy to the parents, the students that were here today. Regardless of where they were in the school, this has got a great impact on them as well as on this community. My thoughts and prayers, along with everybody standing behind me and every law enforcement agency in this state, and many I will tell you around this country.
I never imagined that I would be speaking to the media in my career over something that happened today, the pure evil that happened today. I cannot thank the people behind me for the support they give me today, to give this office and give this staff. This hits home for me. I was born and raised here. I went to school in this school system.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I apologize. I am
My
on
kids
with
go
my
to the
college
school
fixing
system.
some issues we have with captioning.
I'm
I'll
proud
be right
of this
back.
school system. My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community. But I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county. I want that to be very clear and known. Love will prevail over what happened today. I assure you of that. It is very early as to what happened. Governor Kemp reached out to me and has provided me every single resource that he has to make sure justice prevails. I don't know why it happened. I may not ever know. We may not ever know. But I ask that you and our community lift up our schools, lift up our public safety, and that, again, we do not let this hateful event prevail as to what happened today.
The impact, I mean, is forever. Obviously, for the families and for all the students. They're going to carry that with them the rest of their lives. It's a difficult day up there. So let's bring in our special guest joining us live from the scene in Windsor, Georgia. Scripps News anchor Carolyn Bruck is with us. Carolyn, great to see you. Thanks so much. What's it like right now up there? What's the vibe, the feeling that you're getting tonight?
You know, Vinny, you said it. It's difficult. It's beyond that, though, for the students who experienced this, who were inside of the school when they heard those gunshots ring out. Here at the school right now, and I've been here for quite some time, for hours today, and this is still a very active crime scene. There's crime scene tape. School is cornered off, and there is a big police presence still here, and for good reason. They said that they are going to be combing through the school, looking for evidence, gathering evidence. They're going to be interviewing witnesses. And the one thing that they do have, this 14-year-old student, this suspect, the shooter, they have this shooter in custody, and they said that he's cooperating and that they're able to talk to him. So, you know, when something like this happens, we often want to know why, right? It's just part of human nature. We want to know why. Why would something like this happen? Why would someone do something like this? And perhaps because they have this student in custody, they might be able to get some answers. You know, that's not certain, but at least that's a little bit of what we have right now. Vinny?
How about response from families or students or any of the folks who've been impacted by all of this? What are they saying tonight?
You know, it's interesting because the students I spoke with, and I spoke with them not too long after this happened, they are still in shock, understandably. They are in absolute disbelief. One student I spoke with, he said that he knows that things like this happen. He knows that school shootings happen. And in fact, they just did a drill last week to see what they would do if something like this happens. But he said as soon as he saw it come across their smart board, the thing that they have in the classrooms here, that they were on a hard lockdown, he said he didn't know it was real. He couldn't believe that it was real. Take a listen to what he had to say.
And I was just doing my work like I was supposed to. And the smart board said lockdown, and everybody like ran into the corner. And the next thing you know, I just started hearing gunshots like crazy. And it was just like, it's such a surreal moment. Like it didn't feel real because you never think this would like happen.
You certainly never think something like this will happen, but it did happen here. And where the school is located, the road now is open. Cars are coming in and out. But earlier today, this road was closed. It was closed because there were emergency personnel. There were cars coming in and out, first responders, things like that. So the parents, in order to get their children, the caregivers, in order to get their kids from this school, they had to walk. And they walked, in many cases, a mile, some even more. And you just saw the look of fear, but also of relief. And we know now that there are 2 students and 2 teachers who will not go home tonight. It's just a really, really sad scene here, Vinny.
To me, these are the saddest because it's school. It's school. It's the future. It's the future of our nation. It's the future of our communities. And for them to have to first experience it, and then the loss, your friend, your buddy, and you just from that one student you spoke to, who the way he described hearing the gunshots, I can't imagine. We all think about our own children that we send off to school every day.
Just today, I got pictures from my sister sending off my niece and my nephew. It was their first day of school today. And there was another student I spoke with, and he was walking, as I mentioned, the people walking from the school, he was walking with his sister. And I looked down and she had no shoes on, because she said as soon as she got the text message that something happened and she needed to pick up her brother, she ran without shoes on to get her brother because she wanted to make sure he was okay. This is something that's going to stay with these kids. It's going to stay with this community forever.
And is there any word tonight on those who were injured and are in hospitals? Do we know how anyone's doing? Have they released any of that information yet?
We don't have detailed information about that. We do know 8 students and 1 teacher were transported to Atlanta area hospitals, which is not far from here. This is about 50 minutes from Atlanta. We know that some of those victims are gunshot wound victims and others are being treated for things like anxiety and panic attacks. But again, 9. So there are 9 in area hospitals. Non-life-threatening injuries, we're told at this point. So that's the silver lining in all of this. But again, we know that 2 students and 2 teachers, they did not survive, and they will not be making it home tonight.
All right. Carolyn, Broad Scripps news anchor. I know it's been a long day for you. Really appreciate it. And thank you for bringing the story to us. And hopefully everyone understands. I think we all understand the impact that all this has had, and you made it much more vivid tonight. Thank you, Carolyn. All right, let's bring in our think tank. Joining us live in studio tonight, criminal defense attorney, entertainment attorney, former assistant DA in Atlanta, Daryl Cohen. Also joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney Rachel Kaufman, and criminal defense attorney, the man behind the glasses, Josh Schiffer. Thank you all. This is a tough one. This is in our backyards here. I'm trying to understand, why our schools are not secured. Can anyone give me a reasonable explanation for that?
No, and it's spelled N-O. But I'm more interested, not why it happened, we'll find that out, but how it happened and how we stop this from ever happening again. Do we institute the corridor and there has to be metal detectors?
Yes.
What do we need?
Yes.
Not just in the school, but the corridor.
You guys go to courthouses every day. Can you just walk into, and you're attorneys, you've got your attorney IDs. You don't just walk into a courthouse.
How much freedom and authoritarianism are we going to give up for a fetish of firearms in America?
What are you talking about?
We have more loose guns wandering around the universe. If the solution isn't locking down our kids behind walls, scaring
it's not locking
them.
kids behind walls. It's Do your kids go on airplanes? Do your kids go to concerts? Do your kids go to games? Try to go to a game at the stadium. You go through a metal detector.
And for 48 years, we didn't have to do that in my life because we didn't have such a proliferation of easily accessible
We used to be able to
firearms.
walk on an airplane too.
We
until
should be able
9/11.
to go to the mall without getting shot by wackadoodles.
By the way, you go to the mall, you go through security in Atlanta.
Look at how much the fetish for firearms has ruined daily society. And I love my guns. Common sense reform. Make people responsible for the guns they own.
I think we should have deputies in every classroom.
No. Oh, insanity.
I'll tell you something. As a criminal defense attorney.
No. I don't want a deputy doesn't mean in the classroom. Just keep the gun from getting into the school.
I know. I want private security for every classroom. I want everybody protected. I really don't trust that the schools are set up in a way that you can prevent people from entering the school who want to enter. There's windows on first floors.
The greatest make-work job since
You know what they
welfare
have?
was invented.
You know what they have? They have wireless cameras now. Have you seen these things?
That won't
Like people
prevent
put them
someone
around
from
their
shooting.
houses. I can go on my phone right now and show you what's happening around my house. We can't do that at a school.
We need to prevent the guns from going to the school. We're not going to get rid of guns. We're not going to
There's
regulate
300
guns.
million plus guns.
And that's the way it is.
Insurance. Require $1 million insurance. Register
No,
them. We can't count the
Have you read
guns.
the Constitution?
Yeah,
That doesn't
more
bring-
than once.
that
Have
doesn't
you
bring
actually
kids
read
back.
the rest of the Second Amendment, the part about well-regulated militias?
We need to stop it. And how do we stop it is the question, not why. Why is a psychological situation. How do we enact fences surrounding the perimeter where people have to come in? Very
Lock the
similar
doors.
to a football game. Try Truist Park. Try Sanford Stadium. You don't go through
Try
without.
the conventions that just happened, the political conventions. They put up walls. They were secure. They keep themselves safe. They don't want to keep our children safe.
Everybody wasn't secure, though.
No, but it's sad that we're at this place in the world where school is not like it used to be, and so you have to do what you need to do to stop it. That's what,
Security is an illusion because guess what? I was there
when
when
the last courthouse shooting.
I've lived through one that shot my
How long
friends,
ago?
and there were plenty
How
of
long?
sheriffs
Fulton County.
there.
How long
Fulton
ago was
County,
Fulton County?
15, 17 years ago. There have
Exactly.
been other
17 years ago.
since.
When was the last school shooting?
How many
Today.
hundreds of millions of wasted dollars protecting people from an existential fear of a wackadoodle with a firearm rather than
You
take
want to
some
put a price
common
tag
sense
on children's
It makes
lives.
me feel
common
better.
sense reform.
Wait.
We
You
should
really
do
don't-
everything we can. Everything. And that means money. Who cares about it? To protect the kids. And not only the kids, but the parents and the teachers.
teachers.
No,
Those are the
including-
people.
I don't understand why
that
the
need to be
teachers
done.
union isn't jumping up and down as well for
We are
security.
teachers, or we're trying to arm them in Georgia.
No,
I
you
don't
don't
wanna
have to
arm
arm
them.
the teeth. You
I
can
wanna
if you
protect
want, but
them.
you don't have to. You
But
just
guns
keep the
solve
guns
the
from getting
problem.
into the
Guns solve the problem, Vinny. You're
You
pro-gun.
keep the guns out of the school.
Oh,
it's
how's
very
that
easy.
work with drugs and alcohol in this country, Vinny?
It works quite well most of the time.
It's
Never
called a metal
100%.
detector.
And the
It's
illusion.
called a metal detector.
You're trading freedom for a false illusion of
I
security.
want that false
trade.
illusion.
That's a good
I need the
trade.
false illusion.
It's a good trade.
To
When
send
I
my
sent
kids to
my
school.
kids to high school, when I sent my
I need to
kids
feel
to
better.
college, I wanted to feel comfortable.
And
It's a
safe.
make-
Even if it's an
make-believe
illusion.
Band-Aid.
I'll take
Well,
that. But the illusion, if you have an illusion, people will listen and watch
Did you know
the illusion.
there's a group from Parkland that came up with a plan that secures schools and nobody's doing anything about it?
Well, I
No.
don't think that's the case. I think they're doing something about it. Unfortunately, it
Everybody,
happened here in our
every
backyard.
school.
But unfortunately, it takes something like this once again to make people more aware and do something.
I want to jump on that for a second. It takes something like this.
It shouldn't
But we
happen.
had this.
Many times.
We had this. We had this. I mean, I'm doing this all the time because we end up covering the trials on court
So
TV.
how many more do we need before someone's going to do something? Because I hear promises
Why
from
doesn't
all
the
side of
local
politicians.
school board do? Why does the school board not feel the necessity to protect the children who are forced to go to school?
Up to local voters, and I want to see them pay the bills for private security.
Well, these are the victims of
I can't
Oxford. You
believe
saw the
this.
victims of Parkland. It's I don't know. Okay, we've got a lot more to get to though. The think tank's staying with us because the teenager, the 14-year-old who's been arrested, is now going to be in our system of justice. How will our system handle him? Plus, coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, a teenage mom does not report her young child missing. Instead, the teen's father calls law enforcement after more than a month. The teen mom then lies to police. Does this sound familiar? Well, it's not Casey Anthony. It's another teen mom, Megan Boswell, charged with first-degree murder of her little baby, Evelyn.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan.
In every story, in every trial, every case, there's at least two sides to it.
To dive into the latest.
Oh my God.
And breaking true crime stories.
This was a very targeted, very personal attack.
Inside.
I've never seen that in a discovery. I've been incarcerated 3 years.
And outside of the courtroom.
She's a psychopath.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight, 9/8 Central. Only on Court TV.
He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult.
Is the shooter talking, or is he saying why?
The shooter was interviewed, and he was speaking with our investigators earlier, along with the GBI.
He said why?
It is helping our investigation.
Okay, the suspected shooter, 14 years old, has been charged with murder, and according to law enforcement, will be charged and tried as an adult. And right now he is speaking, apparently, or was speaking at one point with investigators in the case. Let's bring back in our think tank, Daryl Cohen, Rachel Kaufman, Josh Schiffer. Okay, first explain what happens. He's 14, he's in Georgia.
He's going to be tried automatically as an adult.
Automatic?
Automatically.
Because it's murder. If it was a lesser offense, armed robbery perhaps as an adult, but theft,
Is this life without the possibility of parole?
It could be.
Absolutely. It does
That's in
not
play.
Yeah, it does not invalidate all the competency and development stuff that I'm certain will be a big deal here. We talk all the time about how brain development takes until your late teens or 20s at a minimum. His brain is certainly underdeveloped.
And where does he get held at age 14? As a accused murderer?
Center?
YDC until such time.
Are these locked, secured facilities?
Oh, absolutely.
yes. Jail
And
for
until
kids.
such time as he either pleads guilty or if he is found guilty of one or more of those murders, he will stay at YDC. After that, it's a good question.
Well, when he turns 17, he'll age into the local county jail. That's how it happens. That's how it works in Georgia. They call it SB 440. There's 7 crimes that if you're charged with them as a juvenile, 14 and up, you're automatically charged as an adult. You can petition the court to send the case back to juvenile court. Given the way that law enforcement was talking about this case, I do not anticipate, and in the county that they're in, I do not anticipate this case will be removed back to juvenile court. But there's still a lot to find out about this case.
Not in this country. He's not going back to juvenile court.
Let me ask you
They'll
this.
have to file a motion and ask, because if they don't, the lawyers will be incompetent, ineffective. But regardless of what that motion is, he's going to be tried as an adult in the superior court.
Unless he enters a plea, which might be the smartest thing for a kid that's this dead to rights to take advantage of moving fast. But we don't know enough details for that.
All right, let's talk about the last time we were in this position in a case that was pending with the juvenile, and that was the Oxford school shooter. And in that case, the parents were charged.
I'd love to see Georgia pursue that.
What would it take in Georgia? What type of behavior in Georgia if by these parents? This is all hypothetical. We don't know anything about the parents. I don't even know who he was living with, et cetera. But potentially, hypothetically in Georgia, what would it take for the parent of a school shooter to be charged for the deaths, not just for allowing, reckless use of or handling of a gun, but for the actual deaths?
Well, that gets into the why. We need to find out how he obtained that weapon. Where was the weapon? Was it from his house? Did it come from his parents' bedroom? Where did he get the weapon? And once we know that, and how long has he had the weapon, once we know those two things, then we can begin to assess what more needs to be done as far as investigating the case and whether or not his parent or parents should be charged in some way as an accessory.
Yeah, because really, right now, what we've got is a 14-year-old that had a firearm. You don't know if that firearm was stolen from a friend, whether that was something that was sitting on his dad's table. There's so much contextualization in there.
Well,
once the investigations take place, though, I will not be surprised to see a pursuit of more liability because these shootings are so
We saw an
indefensibly
aggressive
egregious.
prosecution in Michigan is successful against the mother and father.
So I think it really depends on how much his guardians, his parents knew about his access to a firearm, his possible homicidal ideation. If they bought him the gun, I think they could possibly be held responsible.
And in the end, it's the decision of the local district attorney. This is not a case that the AG steps in on. It's a local district attorney. They're the highest functioning executive officer in that county. They make the final call.
Let me ask you this. He was speaking with law enforcement, but he's 14 years old.
Yes.
Do his parents have to be there for that?
So I believe that they're able to have like possibly a school resource officer, because when you're at school, it's like in loco parentis.
I believe you're correct.
Possibly an adult, a teacher, somebody else who works at the school, whichever. I think there was a school resource officer who actually talked him down eventually.
Right, they made the arrest.
I mean, technically, I guess he could possibly be that person and could sit down with law enforcement. I think the smarter thing to do would obviously be to get one of his parents there. And I think that even if they can't be held criminally liable, I think that there's a lot of questions that, I don't know, as concerned citizens, we would have for them. Because while you're not always responsible for what your 14-year-old is doing, I think that we would be in a safer world if we did hold parents more responsible for their kids' access to fire.
I want to thank you all for being so understanding. Guys, those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Ada. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I apologize. I am going to college. This is my first semester back at the age of 53, and I am getting a degree in criminal justice. And this is my first semester in criminal justice. And I am deaf without my hearing aids, and I'm very dyslexic. And that phone call was from the disability office setting up my accommodations. So I greatly apologize. They're going to be hiring the interpreter that I have when we have court proceedings as my interpreter for college. So welcome. Thank you guys all for joining us. You are greatly honoring me, and I thank you. And if you haven't already, please leave your DNA. Please subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. And also, the banner isn't up, but also, well, yeah, you do see it. All of the support super chats received this week will go to a support fund of the victims. It will be sent as soon as I know where it is. It will be sent, and then I'm going to add to that. Miss Jellybean, thank you so much. Jay Johnson and all of you, Eddie, Ed. Looking for names that I don't know. As Axel, all of you. Alexander, welcome. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Everybody, I can't catch everybody, but thank you so much for joining. If you had a question that I have missed, please put a question mark in front of it and hop back on and give it again. Okay, let's go.
Firearms and
I think I want to see the impact of that very public case, very high profile, whether that will filter in here. Do you think it potentially could? And again, we don't know any of the facts. The investigation is going to go where it's going to go. But do you think that is part of the investigation that prosecutors in Georgia will pursue?
No question. But in this instance, you mentioned questioning him, parents, who was there. Even if all the questioning that they do is thrown out under what's a motion to suppress because it was illegally obtained, it will not matter in the prosecution of this case. They have enough evidence as to people who saw what he did when he did it. So I'm not concerned about that. But the more that they investigate, the more they're going to find out, did mom and dad know he had a gun? Did he have a gun? Did he steal the gun? Was the gun hiding in the ground somewhere?
Let me ask you about one other big issue here. And some people are talking about this. Reports that there may have been a call to the school.
That's a giant flag that someone else knew something was up, means that there was communication, means some forewarning, means someone should have said something or could have said something earlier. Adds entirely new dimensions. If this young person had posted online to groups, had written
what about like a call, an actual call and a threat? If that was made, how big of a part of the investigation is that?
It depends. Was that call made 30 seconds before it happened? Was it made 30 minutes before? Was it made an hour or 2 hours before? That makes a difference. Was there enough time for the school official to respond and react? Or was it something that happened instanter?
Well, so here's the problem is that it sounds like law enforcement reacted quite quickly once the shooting occurred. When you get a threat, like you're saying, it's not worth the possibility of something like this happening. When they get a call like that to the school, I want officers showing up like that then.
But you can't cripple schools, courts, and everybody else with shutting down everything because of crank calls.
Better than doing speed detection on the side of the road.
Yes, you do, Josh, with all due respect. Yes, you do. You shut it down, and if it turns out it's a crank, you reopen. But at the chances of something bad happening because of that crank call, you have to shut it down.
I'm not going to be hold society hostage by cranks calling people every time they've got a test coming up.
I'm so grateful they do that at the jail and at the courthouse. When there's a bomb threat, no. When there's a bomb threat,
We saw it in the Murdoch trial.
Yeah.
They cleared everything out.
happens all the time.
Again, we don't do it for schools.
Yeah.
Think tank staying with us.
Okay, guys. There we go.
Welcome to Vinnie Politan Investigates. I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott, filling in for Vinnie Politan. When someone in this country signs up to be a police officer, they take a very serious oath.
Okay, I don't know what just happened there, guys. Let's back that up.
Well, good morning. I'm Marcee Gray, and this morning,
Shot and killed here.
Okay. So let's start back
good
here.
morning. I'm
I'm so sorry, guys.
And this morning, another American community is reeling from
I'm
deadly
setting
gun
up for our
violence
next
after a
live. We
horrific
have
mass
another
shooting
live coming
at a
up.
Georgia high school.
We're going to be watching the
Investigators say a
trial of
student
the
opened fire
Superman
at
jumper.
Apalachee High School in Widener, Georgia, yesterday morning.
You missed
4
it.
people were killed.
Come join
9
us.
others were injured. Officers confronted the 14-year-old suspect at the scene and took him into custody. And they say that he was armed with an AR-style weapon. The victims were identified as 2 14-year-old students and 2 teachers. Police identified the alleged shooter as Colt Gray, who they say will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. The high school is located roughly 45 miles northeast of Atlanta, and that is where we find CBS News' Dave Malkoff, who is following the very latest on this tragic situation. Dave, good morning.
It really is, Anne-Marie, and it is now the worst case of school violence in Georgia state history. When parents tried to get here, it was very difficult. It was traffic time of the day, but also the streets were blocked off because of this police activity. They didn't care about that. They abandoned their cars by the side of the road, left the doors swinging, and just came running, in some cases, 2.5 miles to get right here, to get to their kids.
Let's begin to change.
A community is in mourning after
walked through
another
hell to get to my
unspeakable
kids.
American tragedy. Yesterday, just before 10:30 a.m., police say a 14-year-old student carrying an AR-style rifle opened fire at Apalachee High School, located just about an hour outside of Atlanta.
The gunshots were so close to me, like my ears started ringing real bad. Like the whole classroom was smoking. I saw one of my classmates on the ground, bleeding so bad.
Students and teachers barricaded themselves in classrooms.
You can hear gunshots like just ringing out through the school, and like you're just wondering like which one of those is going to be somebody
we're gonna
that you're,
switch
like,
to
best
this.
friends with, or somebody that you love.
Because we have new information,
The
supposedly.
community grieving following the nation's latest school shooting. 2 students and 2 teachers died at Apalachee High School about an hour northeast of Atlanta.
A 14-year-old student is in custody, and authorities say he'll be tried as an adult. NBC's Priya Stadar is at the school in Winder, Georgia.
I'm here at Apalachee High School, where the community is still mourning today. We're learning new information about both the suspect and the victims. The suspect has been identified as 14-year-old Colt Gray, who was a student at the school, and we're now learning that he was actually on the radar of the FBI just last year. They say authorities questioned both him and his father revealing that he did have hunting rifles inside of the house, but that Colt Gray did not have unsupervised access to them. We're also hearing from authorities that he used an AR-15 style weapon in this shooting. We don't have any more information about how he got that weapon or what his potential motive could be. We also know that the 4 deceased victims, 2 of them are 14-year-old students, 2 are math teachers. The remaining 9 victims are being treated in hospitals. 8 of them are students. 1 is a teacher, but they are all expected to survive. We also know that the teenage suspect will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. Back to you.
So,
As we mark more than 24 hours since the deadly school shooting that killed 2 teachers and 2 students at Apalachee High School in Winder, we want to catch you up on what we know so far.
First, the latest on the suspect. Within the last few hours, we received the first picture of 14-year-old Colt Gray. This is a yearbook photo that a parent shared with 11 Alive, picture taken 2 years ago when he was in middle school. Gray was booked overnight facing murder charges, and he will be tried as an adult. 11 Alive's Ariana Manise joining us now with what we know about his first court appearance. Ariana.
Cheryl, he'll make his first court appearance tomorrow morning at the Borough County Courthouse. Already investigators are combing through evidence in connection to Colt Gray. Now, 11 Alive, we went to his home yesterday, which is about 6 miles away from Apalachee High School, where we saw ATF investigators. They spent hours going in and out of his home. Now, we spoke to a neighbor who lives across the street from him, and she says she only would see his younger siblings and his dad and wasn't aware that he lived at the home until yesterday when she saw him waiting for the bus the first time. She also described the moment authorities rushed to the home about an hour after shots were fired at the high school. Take a listen.
And all of a sudden she calls me and she says, "Mom, SWAT," they were full gear, helmets, guns, just swarming. And they were coming out and like running around the yards. We thought it was a manhunt. GBI, FBI, forensics, ATF, all the different sheriffs and police, and it was a circus.
I've been
now the
through
GBI
it
is revealing
personally.
2 possible leads that they are following. One is when Colt Gray and his father were interviewed by the FBI last year in connection to an anonymous threat posted online about committing a school shooting, and also previous contact that defects had with the family. Reporting live from Gainesville, I'm Ariana Manise for 11 Alive. Back to you.
Ariana, thank you.
A Georgia community continues to grieve.
Okay. I'm going to stop this here for the moment. I want to catch all of y'all up because the headline does say the mother of the Apalachee school shooter. Once ago, thank you so much for these super chats. I'm sure he does look a little different now. In fact, here is the why is my thing not scrolling? Okay, here it is. This is a more recent photo of him with his mom. I'm sorry, didn't mean to do that. This is the mother of Colt Gray, Apalachee school shooter. This is a more recent photo. So what we know about his mom has got a bit of a past, y'all. His mom's got some issues and we've got some problems with her. She, let me get back onto the record. Still no updates. We are watching his court case very, very, very closely. I do have researchers that are watching as well. But I want to bring to you what we know about the mother as of right now. But why does this do this? Okay. So the mother's name is Marcee Gray. She is of Fitzgerald, Georgia, has been identified. There are 3 children in the family. The student, Marcee, according to the public records, was arrested in 2023, November of 2023, for the vehicle theft, drugs, trafficking, possession, mischief, and meth. Wow. She has a huge record. Her sister is very, very angry. Her sister said they've been having struggles with her for many years. Let's see. Colt Gray's mother, the charges of arrest, concealed identity of a vehicle, drugs to be kept in original container, meaning she probably had certain medications. Hi, Sensei. Come here. She has certain medications that should be a prescription that she did not have a script for. She had a possession and a use of drugs related to objects. Sorry, possession and use of drug related objects, paraphernalia, down. Sorry, my hearing dog. Sale and distribution and possession of dangerous drugs, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, and a hold for another agency. Let me share this with you so you can see her photo and get an idea of what I'm looking at. Down. Good girl. So this here is the mother, Marcee Gray. And let me get that back up so I can. Okay, where did it go? I have so many windows up, y'all. I have a lot of windows up, y'all. It's probably behind this one. Let me see. Yep, there we go. Okay, I'm sorry. I've got 3 screens and I have more on there. I need a 4th. Isn't that crazy? I need a 4th screen, y'all. Oh, no, don't want to do that. Comments. Okay. The police said that the school involved didn't receive a call, so anyone saying someone else within the school was searched is lying. I did see that. Oh, wrong. My bad. Didn't mean to do that. You are correct on that. I'm going to go to comments. Chances someone like that would not address his issues. Right. And that is very disconcerting. The sister has said that she stole things to sell. This is the young Colton. This was in 20. Of course, it's not as recent as the other photo, but the concern is that that she has had so much when it comes to issues. She has stolen from the parents, both drugs, medications, allegedly by the sister. Of course, this is all allegedly by the sister. She had stolen gold, and she has taken other things like tools from the father and all of this stuff, and stolen it for illegal drugs. She has also, the sister says that she has copies of the text. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Calypso and Vixen. Thank you so much. Yeah, we all have busy days, don't we? I read earlier from a lot of this. The aunt says that Mama and Daddy bailed Marcee out of jail. She went to rehab for a month or 2, and that her husband went to pick her up. So, from what I'm understanding, he may be a little bit of an enabler. I've also understand from the aunt's information that it was abusive between the parents in the home. But anyway, the husband went and picked her up without the mother's permission. Well, honestly, even though they put her in a jail or rehab, the husband has more rights than the parents because they're married. She went up there and stayed with him and their kids for a few weeks. Issues started to arise, and now she was back in Fitzgerald at her parents' house. She also destroyed a lot of her sister's personal possessions by burning them. My sister was on meth, and I tried and tied my mom to a chair and left her for 24 hours. She waited until my dad left the house, set up the chair and the tape. She threatened to kill her husband and then herself. She then told my mom she would specifically kill my oldest nephew just to get back at my mom. Yes, this is horrendous. Also, Sharon Whitfield, my sister, this is just text back and forth, stole many things and pawned them, power tools and gold and jewelry. Let me get back to some of the other stuff she wrote. Let's see. The mom wrote in a social media. Um, so, in several social media posts in recent years, Marcee Gray announced she had taken her children and left her husband due to an abusive nature. She claimed that she had suffered nothing but abuse from her 14-year marriage to Colton Gray. Aw, y'all are so sweet. Um, in social media posts, Marcee wrote, and these are her words specifically. Marcee wrote, after 14 years of almost consistent domestic abuse, I packed myself and my babies up and relocated to my hometown in Georgia. We are all good and my kids are thriving. In another post, she attempted to explain her reasoning for staying that long with her husband. All according to her, she knew everyone from the outside looking in would not understand why she remained in an abusive marriage, but she felt she was the only one who can comfort her husband. Comfort her husband. Yes, Ronnie, please, if y'all need to take a mental health break, please do. Y'all can come back and watch us later. By the way, guys, we have 379 of you watching. Thank you so much. Please, please, if you're liking what I'm providing here, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. We are fairly a new channel and a young channel, and we are so blessed to be here. This is why she comforted the thief. Are you ready? I know it's hard to, these are her words. Her words. Quotation mark. You ready? I know it's hard to understand from the outside looking in. Everybody in my life and his family could not understand why I stayed as long as I did. Ultimately, it was my decision. No one but me understands the pain that my husband lives with every single day. No one but me. Every single person in his life has hurt him or betrayed him. Enabler much? I truly believe, not enabler, I'm sorry, codependent. I truly believe that the Lord has sent him to me. Why? Because no one else could be strong enough to stay by his side through thick and thin. I am not about giving up on him now. Oh, I forgot. I skipped a sentence. I made a commitment to the Lord and to my husband. No one but me understands his pain. In 23, Marcee was arrested in Georgia for concealing the identity of a vehicle, sale, distribution, or possession of dangerous drugs, possession of Schedule II controlled substance, and other charges. In the wake of the arrest of the disturbing behavior, Marcee's sister, Ann Brown, called her out on her behavior. She alleges that Marcee has destroyed her family with her drug addiction and illicit activities that she engaged in to fund her addiction. The FBI interview was prior to the arrest. And the FBI said today that at 13, they had no way and no charges to put on him at that time. They did speak to the parents. Obviously, they felt that the parents were possibly just, they felt that the parents were probably doing the best and everything they needed to do. I don't know. When the visited them a year ago, she had these charges on her. What does it take? No, Ed, she was charged in November of last year. The police, I think the FBI was prior to her being charged because her charge was like November 7th, I believe. Um, the aunt continues. The aunt continues. Mama and Daddy bailed Marcee out of jail. Okay, I read that. Thank you so much, Calypso and Vixen. I appreciate you. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, she's going on about I'm making sure I got everything to you that I can. Any female that is going through hardships, heartaches, or digging her family out of a 13-year domestic abuse, take my advice. Okay, I'm reading some text from the aunt. Okay. The aunt is going off on people threatening and saying bad things about the nephew. So let's read what she has to say. I don't know where they are now. Hold on. Okay. Thank you, Calypso and Vixen took care of it. Thank you very much. I didn't see it. Took care of that. Okay, guys, sorry, had a troll. So here is the thing. The aunt by the name of Anne Brown. Anne Brown. This is what she posted 4 hours ago. Thank you, Calypso. Please, in all caps, please someone get me in touch with GBI exclamation ×8. I've tried calling. I'm not scared. I will not back down. Oh my gosh, y'all. She's going serious on this. I'm trying to navigate some of these. Okay, now I can read it. I will not disrespect the other parents and the families that are dealing with this tragedy on the opposite end. They did not deserve this, in all caps. I will not do anything but humbly support the families involved in this incident that did not ask to be participants. And I believe her heart, y'all. I really, really do. I will, with that said, I will not leave my nephew standing alone. When Uvalde happened, I told my children that only hurting people hurt people. I did everything that I could. Hold on. All of a sudden, everything's blowing up. Leave my nephew alone. I did everything I could to fight for my nephew and my niece and my other nephew. Y'all can go ahead and play the blame game all you want. The families affected by my nephew's actions deserve all of the attention now. Sorry. I will take care of my nephew. Excuse me. And what he needs on this side. Just check yourselves before you speak about a child that never asked to deal with the bullshit he saw on a daily basis. I get it. And I understand her anger. I understand her frustration. Apparently, she was trying to get this child some help, but help did not come soon enough for this child. And I think the aunt got smart and hid most of her posts after this. Probably, but guess what? I have them. Sorry, not. The frustrating thing of all of this is that it is so easy for all of us to sit here and point fingers and criticize and do all that, but we truly don't know. We truly don't know. But I will say that this family is a very, very, very disruptive family. This is horrible, y'all. This child, I know what he did is horrible. He deserves to be punished. He deserves to pay for his crime. But at the same time, what about what was done to this child? Like I said earlier, we are not born. We are not born this way. We're not. Nobody is born this way. None of us are. And what happened to this child to cause him to be who he is and how he is now is just absolutely horrifying to me. And he did a horrific thing, and he will pay for that. But what's going to happen to the mom? That's what I want to know. What I know they're looking into it, but I want to know, is this another Crumbly? Are we going to have another Crumbly situation? I don't know. That seems to be what everybody is asking, and that I do not know. Ronnie, you're right. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. If you don't know who I am Ada Kay. I am deaf without my hearing aids. I do interpreting and have an interpreter for courts. And we open this up to the deaf and hard of hearing community. So if you know or have anyone that's a friend or family member, please share us. That way they have access at the same time. But this has been horrendous. And I am at loss of words sometimes. I really am. And I don't know quite how anybody can make sense of this because we can't. I am looking. Oh no, there's a guy stuck in a trench and there's firemen trying to work to get him out. That's news. Yes, there is psychopathy that can occur. That is a medical condition. I'm not talking, you're right, that can create during childhood. Not disagreeing with you on that. What I'm talking about is not the mental health issue. I'm talking about a mom who is stealing and doing meth and selling drugs and doing all the stuff that she's doing and not taking care of her child. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I am talking about. Probably happened to the parents as children or too. It's a cycle. And it is. And if that's the case, then it needs to be dealt with accordingly. I get it. I fully understand it. But at the same time, we as parents have to be able to take care of our children and navigate those issues and be focused on our children and not getting illegal drugs and committing crimes in and of itself. It is sad. It's horrible. It's deplorable. I cannot imagine what the grandparents and the families are going through who were trying to help said family. I don't know if y'all heard that. That brrr, that was my dog going, I am sleepy. He slipped through the cracks and it's horrible. He slipped through the cracks. And that is horrible. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Hunter Biden's lawyers say their client now wants to plead out in his federal tax evasion case.
Jury selection was supposed.
Okay, that's not what it was said it was supposed to be. Okay, they're going to talk about that. Let's get past that now. We're going to go to
Court
their
appearance on Friday.
Now, this is what's so jarring about what we've discovered. Officials say a 14-year-old named Colt Gray will.
Okay, let's answer this real quick. They probably were involved. They are definitely now involved. I guarantee that. They're involved now. If they're not, we
Attend
got
the
a
hearing
problem in this
virtually,
country.
but police did know, and there were warnings about this young man last year. These new details about yesterday's mass shooter include that investigators say the gunman was armed with an AR-style weapon. He is now charged with murder and will be tried as an adult.
4 people were killed and 9 others
don't
were
know, Ann.
injured in the
No
shooting.
one's
The
talking
victims
about
were
the father.
identified as 2 14-year-old students and 2 teachers. Christian Angulo, Mason Shermerhorn, and Richard Aspinwall, and Christina Arimi. One student shared her account of the terrifying moment with Ardrika Duncan. Take a listen.
All I remember is him at the door, the teacher seeing him at the door,
Welcome, the other
saying
one.
over the intercom, like, oh, he's
Jan,
here.
welcome.
Students going to open the door, then backing up from the door, I guess if they saw something. And then you kind of see him turn more to like my right side, and then you just hear about 10 to 15 shots.
CBS News national correspondent Dave Malkoff is on the ground in Winder, Georgia with more.
Lana and Errol, the focus for this entire community is on the 4 lives that were lost here at this high school yesterday. That's Mason Shermerhorn and Christian Angelo, both 14 years old, and the 2 math teachers, Christina Arimi and Richard Aspinwall. They
Correct.
were math teachers here at the school. They all lost their lives. There are 9 other people who were shot in some capacity. But now the FBI is investigating contact between a local sheriff's department and the suspect and his father. This was a contact that was made last year when there were other threats that were online. These were anonymous tips of a school shooting that was possibly coming up. But at that point, there was no arrest made because there was no probable cause for that. Errol and Lana, back to you.
Dave, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Anna Schechter joins us now in Studio 57 with her analysis of this case. As you may know by now, she's a senior coordinating producer for CBS News' Crime and Public Safety Unit. Let's pick off on where Dave left off. It was around this time yesterday, all 3 of us were discussing what could potentially be the motive. Could there have been clues? Apparently there were warnings. The FBI investigated this child, his father, last year. What should have happened or did happen based on what we know now?
Well, the system in place really worked at the federal level. So the FBI got a tip from a user who was in a Discord chat room. This is sometimes the deep, dark place of the internet where we do tend to see calls for violence and threats like this. Discord is a platform often used by gamers, and in a police report filed by local officials at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the FBI alerted the local officials, hey, we got a tip from somebody who had been in a chat room with this individual believed to be Colt Gray, who was then 13 years old. He was a middle schooler at a nearby school.
It was day 23 of the school season of this school year.
Posted photos of a gun and an imminent threat to attack a middle school. There were no specifics put into the tip that went to the FBI. The FBI was so concerned, however, about the nature of the threat and that it could be even the next day that the local police found Colt and his father, Colin Gray. And it was actually difficult. They were living in another house. They met another family who said, oh, yes, this family was evicted. They had some issues. And then Colin, his father, told local police once they actually found him in the new home that the parents had divorced. The mother had taken 2 younger children to another address. And Colt was now living with his father. The father admitted that at the previous middle school, Colt had been having some serious problems. But he said that things had gotten a lot better since he had switched to a new middle school. But all of this, the reason for the visit was this Discord threat. Colt denied that he made the threat. He did acknowledge he had a Discord account. He said that he had deleted it because he was concerned about people hacking in. He basically denied everything and was convincing enough that the local official didn't feel like he had enough information to substantiate that Colt actually was the owner of that Discord account and actually made the threat.
Which included an image of a weapon, right? Wasn't that the
Yes,
post?
and another very strange thing that popped up in this local police report. The the user profile name was written in Cyrillic, and it's spelled out Lanza, referring to Adam Lanza, who carried out the Newtown, Connecticut school shooting with those small children, one of the biggest mass shootings in Connecticut history.
Well, so Anna, when you say the system worked at the federal level, I think my immediate reaction was, no, the system didn't work. But what you're saying is that it worked at the federal level in terms of it did get investigated, but clearly parts of the system didn't work. So what didn't work? We also talked about red flag laws. Was part of this a failure of the investigation? Was part of this that there was no recourse? Would red flag laws have helped in this?
The red flag laws would have helped because the FBI was concerned enough that they could have at least, had there been laws in place, they could have at least confiscated the guns that the father acknowledged having. The father even acknowledged that Colt, the 13-year-old, was allowed to use the guns under his supervision, but that generally they were locked away. The father also told local officials that he had spoken to his son about this the night before. This had clearly been an issue. He had clearly been concerned about his son, switched his school. There are a lot of unanswered questions. Obviously, something failed. This horrific act was carried out. But where I see the breakdown is at the local level, they didn't have confidence in the digital footprint that pointed to Colt Gray. And they were convinced that he might not have even been the owner of that Discord account. But to me, a reference to Adam Lanza, an imminent threat, images of guns, that actually, statistically speaking, when there is an image of a gun posted, I mean, that's where the FBI knows there's a huge spike in likelihood that the person will actually carry out the attack.
All right. Anna Schechter, thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Wow. So we learned
by honoring those victims. The students, both just
We
14
learned a few
years
things,
old,
y'all.
both teachers taught math. Fox 5's Eric Perry followed this story since the moment it broke. He joins us live outside Apalachee High School now, where classes are canceled for the remainder of the week. Eric, what is the situation there today? What's the latest?
Yeah, Alex, good afternoon to you. Really, you can feel it all throughout this community, all throughout Metro Atlanta, as just over now 26 hours since that gunman went into this high school and killed 4 people, injured 9 others. It is on everyone's mind. I want to move out of the way to show you where many have been gathering this morning. There are flowers here at the sign once you come into Apalachee High School, but also further by the flagpole. When I watched it yesterday be lowered to half staff, but you can see some balloons, you can see some flowers, people coming together. Earlier, I saw people holding hands, having a prayer circle this morning. Let's set the scene. Very difficult day yesterday, but we want to walk you through what we know so far. That first call
the first prayer vigil was last night.
Came in around 10:20 yesterday morning inside of Apalachee High School to the sheriff's office. They say within minutes they encountered the shooter, now identified as Colt Gray. They say that he dropped his weapon and surrendered after he was confronted by first responders. So this is not before the gunman shot and killed 4 people, injuring 9 others. Now, GBI has identified the 4 people as 2 teachers, Richard Aspinwall and Christina Ermy, and 2 students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo, both 14 years old. Of course, we're still learning the conditions of those 9 others, but back out here yesterday, I spent 7-8 hours here on the scene talking to students and parents on what can arguably be called the most horrific day and traumatic day of their lives. They walk us through what they saw, what they heard. Take a listen to some of the sound that we brought to you.
Heard 4 gunshots, and we all just like stood there, looked at each other, and our other healthcare teacher came in and told us to run to the closet or bathroom to hide. We hid there for like 15 to 20 minutes.
He came up to my door, or the door to our classroom. Classmate got up. She went to open the door, but she didn't because she saw that he had a gun. She announced it. As soon as she announced it, he started firing. We all went into the corner. Yeah, we just kind of heard a lot of gunshots. Then we heard a lot of, and then like maybe like 3 minutes later, we heard police running in.
Yeah, these are 14, 15-year-olds, Alex, that we are talking about who came face.
Okay, for those who are just joining, I do have a photo that I edited his siblings out. I will show you the photo. It is on my thumbnail, but this is the photo that is one of the most recent photos that they have of him and his mother, just so you have an idea. I will not show the other children. They are innocent.
Face to face with the gunman and saw him. Now, classes here in the county have been closed and canceled for the rest of the week here, giving these families some time to begin the process of healing and really comprehending what is going on. Now, back out here at the scene, as for the shooter, I'm told he was immediately interviewed. He will be charged as an adult. He is now in Gainesville at the juvenile detention center there. But really, we're also learning that he will make his first court appearance. That is new within the past hour. Tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. is when he will go before a judge for the first time. Of course, we will be there. But back here today, the feeling is also real. The heavy hearts also real. People continuing to come out, lay flowers, and just see the sight that they never thought they would ever see before.
This is his mother. That is not me. That not be me. I is not his mama. He wouldn't get that far. Just had to clarify.
Alex.
Okay, Eric, we know school is closed for now and will be for a while, but can you paint a picture of just how
Thank you
many
for all the
people are
hearts,
stopping
whoever's
by
hurting.
and laying wreaths,
Thank you.
paying their respects?
Yeah, Alex. So about an hour ago, I saw two dogs, big dogs at that, service animals coming out just to do what they can with their owners. I asked them questions. They said they wanted to come there, live about 20 minutes away. They're with an organization that with situations like this happen, they come out to give some sort of relief. She was very poignant in saying, you know, sometimes people, they don't want to talk to other people. They just want to talk to an animal or get those emotions out. So we've seen things like that. We've seen water being distributed. We've been
Okay, those are called, oh, that was me, LJ. Oh, hello, Squeegee. Okay, guys, just so you know, those are emergency emotional support dogs. They are not technically service animals. I'm an ADA law specialist. I know this, but it is a mental health thing. They're fabulous. It is amazing. There's several organizations that do this. And they even have dogs. The organization that gave me my service dog, because I'm deaf without my hearing aids, and I have a hearing dog. They have dogs that they train to go into court and sit in the witness box or witness stand before the jury comes in for children, and the dog is underneath, and the child can touch the dog and feel safe to testify. So 9 people were shot. 13, I think, were totally shot, but 4 have passed, if I'm correct. I could be wrong.
been seeing food being distributed. That was yesterday. That's translated into today. And then we've seen a lot of tears. We've seen a lot of hugs as people stood right there behind me at that flagpole, placing different balloons and just trying to soak in the magnitude of the traumatic events that happened yesterday, Alex.
That might be the only silver lining here, is seeing the community come out and support one another. One more question for you, Eric. Is there
No,
any
I did
update
not.
yet on a possible motive here?
If you have a link, please comment it.
Yeah, we are still trying to figure out just what it is that caused all of this. At this point, we cannot
9 are
confirm
still
a motive. That is
hospitalized.
something that we asked GBI, just different questions floating around on social media about the shooter. They've not been able to confirm that for us to report it just yet, but that is something we are still working to learn. But honestly, that is what the nation wants to know now. Because he is still alive, he was interviewed. Hopefully, they were able to get some sort of an answer as to just why he did it, Alex.
This is my baby girl.
In Georgia, a 14-year-old student opened fire at the Apalachee High School in the city of Winder Wednesday, killing 2 students, both also age 14.
Hey, Trial TV Live, how are you doing? I am going to cover what I call the Superman jumper trial, who jumped over the judge's bench and attacked her, but we will cover that later. Got another update. Let me share this.
the scene. Jerika, I said yesterday during our live coverage that each of the people affected are somebody. Today, what are we learning about
Thank
the
you, Trial
victims?
TV Live. I hate it's under these
Yeah,
circumstances,
there are a
though.
number of students that have
Truthfully.
come out to this area
You
behind
guys,
me near that
please comment,
flagpole
like, and
to
most
set
of
up
all,
flowers,
subscribe.
to mourn, to grieve.
And
It's
awesome.
been a very touching.
Any and all super chats that are received at this time will be donated to the GoFundMe, to the victims of this crime. So please, if you want to give somewhere, please give here. 100% will be donated.
Experience just to watch people coming together. We spoke earlier to a chaplain who told me he had direct contact with the mother of Mason Schermerhorn, and he said that he actually told the mom yesterday that he would go inside the school to try and find her son. He was obviously at that point, he said the body had already been taken out, and of course they later learned that he was among the 4 who had died. But one of the things that he said is that everyone, quote, acted together as one goal to save everyone and get them out safely. And I think that just speaks to the sort of coming together, if you will, of a community that is grieving, that is at a loss for words. Again, we talked about being in these situations and seeing this play out in other cities, but it's different when it happens in your hometown. And that's sort of the sentiment we're hearing from people who've come out today. There was a mother and her 9-year-old son. She said, obviously my son is 9. He didn't go to this high school, but I just felt like I needed a place to put my pain. So she was out here, she said, sort of paying her respects. We spoke to a Jose Ortiz, a 9th grader, who said he knew Christian Angula and called him a friend, said that he was someone who always motivated him to be better. Esther Matias, 9th grade, that also came out to lay flowers, talked about Christian as well as a good kid, and said that she's praying for the community, even talking about finding it in her heart to pray for the shooter, the alleged shooter in all of this. And going back to what Anna said in reference to what we know about this shooter, you know, in that incident report, when the FBI, when the sheriff's office showed up and questioned him, he said that he expressed concern that anyone was, quote, accusing him of threatening to shoot up a school, stating that he would never say such a thing, even in a joking manner. So based on that, you have someone that clearly knows this is not something you joke or play around with, but we now know the end result. And I think so many people are always desperate to understand what that person was thinking, but I don't think it's something that many of us will ever understand, because it is truly unexplainable. It doesn't make sense for the families, for the children. Something else that I thought was interesting is late last night when we spoke to one of the students, she said she's worried about the younger kids. She's 16 years old.
Right.
And she talked about worrying about the future of the people that are coming up after her. And I think that is a sentiment we've heard over and over again. I think it'll be this generation that really changes things, because they've now been touched by this over and over and over again.
Yeah, important conversations. Had them with my twins last night. Very same thing. Unfathomable things, Jerika. Things we will never understand, as you so eloquently say. But what we do understand is the fact that communities come together. And right now, you're giving us a sense of how they are placing their pain right there behind you. And they're helping people to find a little purpose in that pain. Jerika Duncan, weekend anchor for CBS News, national correspondent, nobody better. My friend, it's good to see you on the stream. Sad it's under these circumstances. Thank you so much. Now let's take it to where.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to replay that. My apologies. For those of you who were just hopping on, I am Ada K. Thank you so much for joining us. I am sorry that some of you were joining us for the first time under these circumstances, but we welcome you here. I am trying to provide as much as I can as far as live information on this situation. Anything new that pops up, I hope to be able to bring it to you. Okay, this is interesting. We will share this.
He's a teacher at Apalachee High School. Thank you so much for talking to us today. I'm really happy to see that you are safe right now, but I am really sorry to hear about this tragedy and the trauma that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. Stephen, can you tell us a little bit about what you experienced, but also anything that you can tell us about the teachers and the students who were killed here, the victims of this, and the 9 people who were shot?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for your thoughts and your concerns. I really appreciate it, and this community appreciates it as well. The biggest thing I can say that response was very fast from our SROs, probably within a matter of, probably 120 seconds after gunfire, the SROs responded to the individual and made sure that he was put into custody. In regards to, some of the teachers and students that were involved, it's tough. They were very, very important members of our community. They made a difference. They were there for their students each and every day. And it's going to be very, very hard and difficult to move forward from that.
I think it's really remarkable because we heard from school administrators, we heard from police that there's this new system that was put in place in your school just a week prior. The door is locked. And so describe what that did and how that created a much, much safer and much less deadly incident this time around in a school.
Yes, ma'am. So I believe the program is called Synergex. Basically, every teacher has a little digital card on them where we can press a button where 4 presses gets our admin involved, and then 8 presses of the button gets law enforcement sent to the high school and alerts that there is a physical threat on campus.
How important was it to have that in place? Not all schools have it, certainly. How important was this? Because you said that officers got there about 2 minutes, 120 seconds from the time of the initial shooting.
Critical. I will tell you that I actually saw the lockdown initiate before I even heard gunshots. So I had time to prepare. Someone saw the threat even before he started to engage. So it's almost we knew before anything truly even happened, before lives were taken. So it's insane, the technology that we have access to, and we practice it quite a bit. With our administration, they've done a great job in preparing our staff in these kind of situations. And I just want to say God bless them for doing that and the hard work that they put into those scenarios.
Yeah, this is such an incredibly...
Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions, you guys, real quick. We're going to take a quick pause. I'll be back with this. But people are asking, what is this channel usually about? We follow Court TV and things that are, important right now. For example, this, I am deaf without my hearing aids. I do have an interpreter that does come on and interpret for me for court and trial. She would be interpreting right now, but she is working another case. But we we'll go back and interpret some of this later. We're about sharing access to all of the deaf and hard of hearing as well as the hearing. We follow a lot of the popular cases around. We do a lot of course, anything that's breaking news media such as this, I share it as well. So I always make sure that I have closed captioning, or such as you see here, if I do not have an interpreter. I am from the Central Texas area, and I am Ada K. Welcome to all of you who've never been here. I appreciate you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We are a growing channel, and we want to provide more access to both the hearing and the hard of hearing and deaf. So thank you so much. Well, I grew up hearing. I became deaf as an adult the last 20 years. So we cover criminal trials first. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I am a first responder. I'm a first responder chaplain, volunteer firefighter, and I also am going to school. Thank you for reminding me, for criminal justice. My goal is to work in the criminal system with the deaf and hard of hearing and disabled people to ensure that they get their fair and equal access as well. So, on with the show. Thank you for asking.
Different scenario than what we saw in
Thank you,
Texas
Ronnie.
and Uvalde, where there were 77 minutes where there was really no stopping this gunman. In your case, this happened so quickly. You have the technology in place. what would you like to say
I shall
to
return.
members of
I gotta
Congress,
let my
to your
dogs
lawmakers,
utilize the restroom.
to those that have some power to perhaps make some changes? What would you like to say to them about having to go through this? You go to school to learn. You go to school to teach. You go to school to make friends and to be a part of society. And every year, we're just at the beginning of the school year. Here we are again, 4 people killed, 9 people injured, including students and teachers.
Yes, ma'am. The way I look at it, you know, from a very objective viewpoint, is that a lot of people are grieving right now. A lot of people, to express their grief, they want to cry, they want to hug their loved ones, they want to make sure that everyone's safe. However, I think it's appropriate that other people, their response in grieving is activism, that they want to make a positive change in their community, and whatever that might be. You know, I hope that, you know, there is significant change throughout, you know, hopefully to come in November. And I hope that more legislation can be done to hopefully prevent these situations and keep our children safe.
It sounds like the school took matters into their own hands and really put in a system that worked, with the unfortunate and horrible realization that there are people who have been killed and injured, but it is very different from what has happened at other schools. Would you recommend this to other schools around the country?
Yes, ma'am, without a doubt in my mind. I think this program that Apalachee instilled upon us at 100% saved lives without a doubt in my mind. I recommend it to any school district.
Stephen Cranebowl, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you were grieving. I know you're going through it. And we just appreciate you coming on and letting the country know what it is that you and those in that school have gone through over the past 24 hours. Appreciate you.
With us now is Georgia State Senator Emmanuel Jones. He is the chair of the Safe Firearm Storage Committee, which is scheduled to meet this morning. Senator, thanks so much for being with us on that subject. We did learn overnight that authorities went to the suspect's house a year ago, talked to the family because they were concerned about some kind of postings, electronic postings that had been made. And they were told by the parents, yes, there are firearms in this house, but this child does not have access to them. That seems to be right in line with what you're studying. What questions do you have on this?
Well, certainly my question is, what led the FBI to go to this young man's home well over a year ago? It must have been another triggering event, and certainly just a typical response of, yes, he does not have access to these firearms. Certainly we know that statement was not accurate.
So what issues have you uncovered as your committee has studied this issue of firearm storage?
Well, there's 3 major issues that we've uncovered, and these are all issues that we intend to work on in draft legislation for our upcoming session in 2025. First of all, we got to do a better job in our great state with forward locking laws. We need to work on child access prevention and to hold the parents accountable for children having access to guns, either intentionally or unintentionally.
Sorry, I want to talk about that real quick because some people are starting to draw a parallel to the Crumley case. Well, there may be parallels, there may not be. But here are some of the parallels that I do and don't see. First of all, I can't read, is it Savannah GA 6 Savannah 65? I am severely dyslexic, so your script is hard, but I got it. We're good. I am working on a process to be able to have more freedom. The program that we are streaming on, I don't have the freedom I want. I have this new big bad boy. I'm waiting to get hooked up so I can be more accommodating to the visually impaired as well. Okay, let's talk about the Crumley trial versus this case. With the Crumley trial, the parent bought the weapon for the child. That's number one. That is number one. The parents did not lock the weapon up. They didn't put the cable lock on it. They didn't lock the case or change the combination. They did not store it separately from the ammo. And when they went to the school that morning and saw the paper where he drew on, they didn't do due diligence and take him out of school. There was a lot of breakdown that we know of. Now, we don't know what the breakdowns are here yet. We do know there's a disconnect between the FBI and that situation. However, some kids are good at faking it, okay? So we got to remember that. But that said, if the parents did not do their due diligence and did not take responsibility and lock it up and do everything that they're supposed to do, then I believe they should be held responsible. But as far as we know at this point, it has not been said that the it has not been said that the weapon belonged to the child. It was not a gift given to the child. If that's the case, honey, we hit boo-boo, we got a problem. You are responsible. There still is most likely some responsibility there, but I think that's one reason why the case was made the way it was because the parents bought the weapon, not one, but two for the child at that age. There was a blatant disregard for safety 100% across the board. We don't know that yet. We don't have any idea yet where that is. The investigation is ongoing. But the Crumbly case did open up legislation and laws, and that opened up a can of worms for situations like this. So we'll see where it goes. On with the show.
Intentionally, and we need to address the safe storage issues.
Savannah 65, the parents are under investigation. I'm sure they have been questioned, and there's a lot going on right now. So we will learn more as it comes. I'm trying to bring it to you as soon as I know it.
Vehicles, because right now our region, this part of the country, is one of the tops in terms of thefts of firearms in vehicles.
Now, I want to be clear. We don't at this point know how the suspect got his hands on the AR-15. So
And
let's
they can
stipulate
be.
that. But when you talk about holding parents accountable, how do you propose to do that?
Well, there's several laws on the books with other states, and I have to bring your attention to the fact that Georgia is 8th in the nation, or should I say the 8th worst state in the nation in terms of these kind of preventable incidents. But there's other states out there who is comparable to us demographically, like Texas, whose numbers are less than half of what our rate is of these unintentional deaths per 100,000 for kids. And when we look at firearm safety, we got to look at being able to secure those firearms and ensure that these kids do not gain access to them anyway. There's too much technology out there for us not to take advantage of what's available.
Now, I do understand that the Georgia House passed a bill, a bipartisan bill, that would have offered tax credits to gun owners who have secure storage devices, but it failed in the Senate. Is that right?
It did, and it only failed by one vote, and I certainly expect that legislation to come up again this upcoming session. And that is just kind of one aspect of this argument, and tax credits is key to the state being able to drive the momentum toward people using safe storage devices. But the state can't do it all. I think businesses should join with us as well. And I'm certainly going to call on them to do that in my study committee.
What about families?
LJ, I'd love to have you come on and let's talk about this.
Families is key. And part of a child having access to weapons, if you look at some of this data out there from Everytown and other institutions that study this, you will see that those states that have civil liabilities and even criminal liabilities for
I remember
parents
too,
and
babe.
other caretakers of these children, that the rate of these kind of incidents drops significantly.
Georgia State Senator Emanuel Jones, the irony, your committee was due to meet today anyway to discuss these issues about safe firearm storage. The need even more pressing now. Thank you very much for being with us. I appreciate it.
And joining us.
So, ironically enough, our
This is
county
pretty recent.
had invested in a notification system called Centegix. Started working on this about a year ago. We implemented it about a week and a half ago. Yesterday morning around 10-ish, the times are still coming in. We got the alerts from the Centegics that we had an active shooter at Apalachee High School. Yeah, so the teachers each have an ID with their picture on it, and they have a button on that ID, and they press it so many times, and it alerts us where that incident is occurring. So it sends us a GPS coordinate of that actual ID to the foot of where that person's at. So we got multiple notifications as the shooting was going on from the teachers where to respond in that general area. It also locks down the school screens. We're on lockdown, and the teachers know to go in and block the doors, and they begin doing that as well. So 9 of our people, we prevented more deaths with our SROs interacting with the suspect within minutes, 5 or 6 minutes. They come around the hallway. They were armed, obviously, he was. They interacted with him. They gave him verbal commands, and he dropped the gun, went on the ground, and they took him into custody immediately. They're telling me within 6 minutes of the first Centegic hit on the thing of the alert that he was in custody by the time. So extremely proud of them. What I'm most proud of, even in a bad situation like this, is those teachers were heroes. I want that to be known. They were heroes. They saved a lot of children. So our SROs engaged him quickly. He listened to the verbal commands, and he complied with our orders.
Okay, see you later. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.
It was carnage. There was blood everywhere. You could smell the gunpowder. You could smell a lot of screaming, yelling, a little bit of chaos. But I'm very proud. You have to kind of sit back and you have to count to about 3 and kind of slow your breathing down and start looking around, and people tactically start doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because we trained on this. This last year, we had an active shooter drill last school year on a teacher work day at one of our local middle schools, and did this exact thing. And that was before we had implemented Centegics, this company that had the IDs. So your training kicks in, and you start, all right, let's go to work. Once you render aid and whatnot, but could not be prouder of our EMS and fire. Could not be proud of our ambulances. They backed up to the building. We loading kids up, tourniqueting folks, and those 9 people that were injured are living today, and they expect to live. And our heart breaks and goes out to the families of the 4 victims that were killed and murdered. That's what this is a murder.
It's there.
I have
not me.
Family that works in that school, direct family, So it's in kids, friends, family, friends, kids that I've coached, kids that I've prayed over. It's a tough situation I don't know if I'll ever get over it. I don't know if I'll ever get over the sounds. I don't know if I'll ever get over having to do the notifications to the family that their baby's not coming home.
That's tough, guys. That's tough. Let's go over
Off this morning with more on the victims.
Liza, there are some hopeful reports about those recovering and this huge show of support for the families.
Indeed. I just got an update from Grady Hospital that tells me that the one victim taken there remains there as that recovery continues. Meanwhile, the condolences, the remembrances are painting a picture of the 2 students and 2 teachers who were killed. And so far, we've learned the most about Coach Richard Aspinwall. He taught math and was the defensive coordinator for the football team, with football players both current and past posting online. In fact, I want to point you to a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, where the team posted stating, "Our beloved defensive coordinator, Ricky Aspinwall, we will carry you heavy in our hearts. We love you, Coach A." GoFundMe to help his wife and 2 little ones has grown from $50,000 since we told you about it this morning to more than $90,000 at last check. One of his colleagues at the high school also shared how respected he was within the school community.
He meant a lot to this community, a lot to the athletic programs that we have at our institution. So he'll be sorely missed. It's hard to replace someone like that.
We've also verified a separate fundraising effort for 14-year-old Christian, who you see right there. There's a 14 right there on his birthday cake. His sister writing in a GoFundMe that her brother was so loved by many and that the family is truly heartbroken, adding he didn't deserve this. Now, so far, nearly $40,000 has been raised for Christian's funeral. We're in the process of working behind the scenes to vet other fundraisers and efforts to help the community. And as we learn more about loved ones and those that are recovering in the hospital, we will keep you posted on air and online. Sending it back to you.
Wow, guys. We did have one of the broadcasters that, let me get over here. We had an update 2 minutes ago.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lana Zach.
And I'm Errol Barnett. We continue to follow breaking news out of Georgia. CBS News has learned that at least 2 people are dead and as many as 4 people have been injured.
Police say.
Okay, that said it was updated 2 minutes ago. How was that updated 2 minutes ago? That wasn't updated 2 minutes ago. Okay, guys, this is a very heated subject, and I really want to say, guys, you have done very well with your comments today. This is a place where I tell people that you are respected. Everybody has their opinion. We are going to ask that politics be kept out of it. We say pineapple and no politics because I love pineapple. But I do agree with a lot of your comments, and a lot of your comments are validated. And I respect everybody's opinions here. They're saying they have updates, but they're not. Okay, let's watch this. I don't think we've seen it.
Investigators are piecing together how this tragedy unfolded. We are just getting this image here of the alleged shooter for the very first time.
Yeah, this is our first look at 14-year-old Colt Gray, accused
don't
in this
disagree,
shooting
Ruben.
and now charged with murder. This is a yearbook photo that a parent shared with 11 Alive News. This picture was taken 2 years ago when he was in middle school. A neighbor tells us he lives with his father and his 2 young siblings. It was 10:23 yesterday morning when the first reports of gunshots inside the school came in. Students went on immediate hard lockdown, and these were the first images that we saw of all the students outside the school once it was determined the immediate threat had ended. Today, students and parents are sharing more about that experience, and in a moment, we'll share video from inside the school.
Today, we are thinking of the families of these loved ones here. Now, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has identified the victims, 2 teachers who were killed, 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall, who was also a teacher and a coach, and 53-year-old Christina Aramay. The shooting took the lives of 2 14-year-old students, Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn.
We have team coverage to walk you through the latest on the investigation. We have more on the shooter's past connection with the FBI and new information about the weapon that he used. More on that in a moment. Liza Lucas starts us off, though, with more on the victims. Liza, some updates from Grady Hospital today.
That's right. Grady, as well as Northeast Georgia Health System, who I just spoke with, they say they continue to help with the recovery of one of the gunshot victims at their level 1 trauma center in Gainesville. I'm told that person is stable, while several of the other victims that they were treating at other locations have been released. Now, Grady tells me the patient that they are treating from the shooting remains at the hospital. So we're going to stay on top of that. The sheriff at last check sharing that all of the 9 who were injured are expected to survive. Meanwhile, so many remembrances pouring in, and we want to talk about the legacy of Coach Richard Aspinwall, who you see right there. He taught math and was the defensive coordinator for the football team, and previously also taught, we learned, and coached in Gwinnett. So he's got a big reach here. The Apalachee football team writing on X that they are grateful for the support, stating, "To our beloved defensive coordinator Ricky Aspinwall, we will carry you heavy in our hearts. We love you, Coach A." A GoFundMe to help his wife and 2 little ones has already surpassed its original goal. Take a listen to a fellow teacher talk about how respected he was at the school.
He meant a lot to this community, a lot to the athletic programs that we have at our institution. So he'll be sorely missed. It's hard to replace someone like that.
We've also verified a separate fundraising effort for 14-year-old Christian, who you see right there in front of his 14-year birthday cake. His sister writing in a GoFundMe that her brother was so loved by many. The family, she says, is truly heartbroken, adding that her brother did not deserve this. So far, nearly $40,000 has been raised for Christian's funeral. All these efforts are ongoing, and we're in the process of working to vet other fundraisers for other families, as well as efforts to help. And we'll keep you posted on that and as we monitor the recovery of those injured. Sending it back to you.
Liza, thank you.
Before I begin, with your permission, I'd like to say a few words about the school shooting yesterday.
Okay. For those of you who are just hopping on, I'm going to read to you some information we have on the mother, hence the title of my this channel. But I want to recap what we know for those who were just joining. If you've heard this again, is hearing this for a second time, I appreciate your patience. But we have a lot of new viewers hopping in and out, so let's go over this. What we know right now is that this is the mother of the shooter, Colt. Her name is Marcee. Marcee is a, let me get it up, a mother of 3 children. There's a girl and another child, a boy, younger than Colton in the family that I know of. A lot of information has come from the aunt. And basically, this is what we've got thus far. Who is Marcee Gray? Inside the tragic life of the Apalachee high school shooter Colt Gray's mother. Marcee Gray is of Fitzgerald, Georgia, and has been identified as a mother of Colt Gray, the student who shot and killed 4 people in a mass shooting at the Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. Marcee, according to public records, was arrested in November of 2023 for the theft of a vehicle, drugs, trafficking, possession, mischief, and meth. Her older sister and Colt's aunt, Annie Brown, has revealed in numerous social media posts that Marcee has created, a dysfunctional family unit. Ms. Brown claims that her sister is an addict of drugs and steals from her family to support her habit. Colt Gray, 14, is the eldest child who shot 4 people in the high school in Georgia yesterday. Gray's open fired in Apalachee. We knew that. Marcee Gray is a highly educated engineer who, according to her own sister, fell into drug addictions that destroyed her life. Gray also claims that she has suffered 14 years of abuse during her marriage to Colt's father, Colton Gray. Gray attended North Georgia Southern University, graduating in 2005 with a bachelor's degree of science, Bachelor of Science degree, industrial management. She proceeded to Kennesaw State University, I think, or Kennesaw is how you say it, State University, Southern Polytech College of Engineering. She's highly educated, y'all. Marcee graduated the Columbia Southern University in 2008, receiving a Master's of Science in Occupational Safety and Health. She held numerous prestigious positions, including as a qualified engineer supervisor at the Toyota Industries, North America, and quality manager at the Olympic Steel in Windsor, Georgia. Her final role listed in her LinkedIn profile revealed that she worked as a quality assistant manager at the Georgia Pacific LLC in March of 2020 to January of 21. Oops. Sorry about that, y'all. Her work experience abruptly ended at that point. Well, wonder why. Marcee Gray was married to Colt Gray, and the couple welcomed their 3 children, which Colt was the eldest. In several social media posts in recent years, Marcee Gray announced that she had taken her children and left her husband due to an abusive nature. She claimed that she had suffered nothing but abuse from a 14-year marriage with Colt Gray. In social media post, Marcee wrote, after 14 years of almost consistent domestic abuse, I packed my bags, my babies, and up and relocated to my hometown in South Georgia. We are all good and my kids are thriving. In another post, she attempted to explain her reasoning for staying for so long. According to her, she knew everybody on the outside looking in would not understand why she remained in an abusive marriage, but felt she was the only one who could comfort her husband. Quote from Marcee herself. I know it's hard to understand from the outside looking in. Everyone in my family couldn't understand why I stayed as long as I did. Ultimately, it was my decision. I made a commitment to the Lord and my husband. No one but me understands the pain that my husband lives with every single day. Every person in his life has hurt or betrayed him. I truly believe that the Lord sent me to him because no one else was strong enough to stay by his side through thick and thin. I'm not about to give up on him now. We're just taking a break. Okay. If you say so, my dear. If you say so. In 2023, Marcee Gray was arrested. Marcee Gray was arrested in Georgia for concealing the identity of a vehicle, sale, distribution, or possession of dangerous drugs, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, and other charges. In the wake of her arrest and other destructive behavior, Marcee Gray's sister, Annie Brown, called her out for her behavior. She alleged that Marcee had destroyed her family with her drug addiction and illicit activities she engaged in to fund her drug activities. So this was huge, y'all. To me, I mean, it doesn't change what had happened, but explains a little bit about the family dynamics and maybe why her son is the way he is. Apparently, his mother had stolen from her family, not only her mother and father, who are, I'm sure, elderly. She tied her mother up for 24 hours and left her alone, tied up in a house. She has done so many bad things to that family. So I am sure CPS was involved a little bit before this. I am sure. What time is it? Okay, guys. It is now a little after 3:30 Central Texas time. I am going to say farewell to you. I have another live that I should be on already, and I have a hard stop. I will be covering tomorrow's court bond hearing if it is available Friday at 8:30 a.m. virtual when and like I said, if it's available. It should be, I don't know, because federal is not always available, but we'll see. That is 7:30 my time, which means I'll be here at 6:30 in the morning. Y'all are all welcome to come join me with that. We are going to transport over to the Judge Jumper trial, Nevada versus Deborah. It's a man, but Deborah Ridden. He jumped over the bar where the judge was sitting and attacked her. Please, if you'd like to come back and join us again, I will have more on this tomorrow. I will be streaming any and all updates again tomorrow. We'll keep you guys posted. If something alerts in the middle of whatever I am doing concerning this, I will hop back on. So once again, I thank you. I appreciate all of you. You are amazing people. And I really, really could not be doing this without you. And for all of those who have joined me for the very first time, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. And we will see you guys in a few minutes over on the other live that's starting right now. In the meantime, be blessed. Hug your families. Tell them you love them. And remember, be kind to those who are having a rough day. You may be the only smile they see all day. We will see you again tomorrow with updates on this and like I said, join me on the other side. Thank you guys so daddy much. Appreciate you.